Chapter 159. With Ning Fan's eyesight, he could see that the jade box that contained the All-Heaven relic was imprinted with a faint demonic mark. The teams of demons that were chasing after Hou Yen mostly relied on this mark. The so-called demon Lieutenant Jifeng would most likely follow the mark. After capturing Zi, he would bring Hou Yen back to his sect and help him become the sect master. Then, he would use his name to plunder the sects of Wei country within 100,000 li radius. This was Ning Fan's plan. The act of plundering would definitely offend the forces of Wei country. It couldn't be better to use Hou Yen and his sect as a scapegoat. The ship flew slowly. Ning Fan would use his teleportation ability to catch up to the ship and go to Great Jin together. He landed on a grassy plain. This place was located at the west of Wei country. It was called Heshi Plain. He didn't erase the mark on the jade box. Instead, he waited for Zifeng to fall into his trap. Therefore, this Heshi Plain became the battlefield for the battle. Hou Yen, who was at the side, was shivering after being imprinted with the mental seal. He wasn't a fool. Ning Fan held the jade box and waited casually. Who else could he be waiting for other than the so-called demon Lieutenant Jifeng? It's over, this Zhou Ming is going to fight with demon Lieutenant Jifeng. It's a battle between nascent soul realm cultivators and I'm dragged into it. I hope I won't be affected by it. He sighed inwardly. He was extremely afraid of Ning Fan. His fear was even greater than that of demon Lieutenant Jifeng, whom he had never met before. Taking advantage of this demon riot, a low-grade cultivation country like Wei country had not only nascent soul realm old demons, but also Rain Palace nascent soul realm old monsters. Hou Yen was fortunate enough to witness a battle between an expert of Rain Palace and a nascent soul realm old demon. However, even at the critical moment of the battle, the two of them didn't display a terrifying magical ability like the black current spirit fission technique. Perhaps, Ning Fan was stronger than the purple-haired female demon, but why did he provoke this malefic star and get imprinted with the mental seal? AI, this is an unlucky year. I've boarded a pirate ship and bumped into a malefic star. Hou Yen cursed inwardly, but he didn't dare to show a trace of dissatisfaction on his face. While he was cursing in his heart, Ning Fan was closing his eyes and waiting, allowing his qi to merge with the wasteland. One of the rewards of cultivating Yao arts was the feeling of being one with the world. He did not underestimate Zifeng in the slightest. She was an early-stage nascent soul female demon. Perhaps she was a bit stronger than the flower girl, or perhaps she was a bit weaker. However, she definitely had blood-colored runes on her body and had a life-saving technique, a deification strike. However, Ning Fan still had the confidence to win because Zifeng was a female demon. He wasn't afraid of women, the time it took for an incense stick to burn had passed. A wild demonic wind swept over from the horizon, causing the cultivators of the Wei country near the Heshi Plains to scatter in all directions. Hundreds of harmonious spirit demonic beasts immediately flew out from the gust of demonic wind. There were also demonic soldiers that used secret techniques that were half human and half demonic. There were also gold core ferocious beasts and demonic devils. The scattered demons began to hunt down the scattered cultivators. A few cultivators died immediately. Within the demonic wind, a ray of purple light flickered and went straight towards Ning Fan. The purple light was accompanied by a fragrant wind and overwhelming anger. Within the purple light, there was a female demon with a slim figure and long purple hair. Her eyes fell on Ning Fan and she was slightly surprised. Based on the mark that was planted in the body of the demon guards, she knew that 2 batches of demon guards had been killed. How could the one who held the jade box be a harmonious spirit junior, harmonious spirit? Could it be that the one who killed my vanguard demon guards is just a harmonious spirit junior? She had an excellent figure and her breasts were half exposed, giving her endless charm. However, her appearance was just like the flower girl. She had all kinds of scars and it was too horrible to look at. The female demon's nose twitched. She smelled the blood qi of the demon race on Ning Fan's body. Her heart shuddered. Only now did she believe that Ning Fan was the one who killed her demon guards. A harmonious spirit cultivator could actually kill a gold core demon guard. Interesting, but that's all there was to it. What's a harmonious spirit cultivator compared to a nascent soul cultivator? She stood in mid-air with a sneer on her ugly face. Human Jr., were you the one who killed my demon guards? What do you think? Ning Fan said indifferently. Humph. It seems like it's you. Then, you can die now. Demonic art, 9 layers purple. This woman didn't seem to have the intention to talk nonsense with Ning Fan. She formed a hand seal. Immediately, a fragrant wind with purple poisonous mist rolled up on the West River Plain. There were a total of 9 of them. As soon as the poisonous mist spread, it immediately turned into 9,000 zhang tall purple tornadoes, violently rolling towards them from the west. Wherever the tornadoes passed, the verdant grass within 10 li of West River Plain began to wither. A moment later, they turned into ashes and scattered. The female's hand seal was elegant, skillful and fast. Compared to this, the speed of Ning Fan's finger seals that he had been cultivating for 4 months was insignificant. This is the expert of the demon race. Ning Fan's eyes darkened. The more he understood demonic arts, the more he could see that the demonic art displayed by this woman was extraordinary. Using her thoughts to form the wind, using the wind to dye it purple, using the purple to form the fragrance, using the fragrance to turn into mist, using the mist to form a dragon tornado, the 9 purple tornadoes carried traces of wind poison. If a harmonious spirit cultivator accidentally entered it, he would instantly turn into pus and blood. Even a gold core old monster wouldn't be able to protect himself if he accidentally entered the wind, let alone a mere grass. Under this wind, Ho Lian's body trembled in fear. He clearly remembered how many gold core and harmonious spirit experts of Wei were poisoned by the purple wind of the purple-haired demoness and turned into pus and blood. Demon Lieutenant Jifeng, this was how the name Jifeng came about. Unless one's cultivation had reached the late gold core realm, no one would be able to completely resist this poison. This demonic art was indeed extraordinary. However, it was merely extraordinary. Sword sense, extinguish. Ning Fan said coldly. His eyes were filled with sword chi. At this moment, his mind and the earth had fused together. Even his sword sense carried a trace of boundless charm. It gave the demoness an illusion that she wasn't facing Ning Fan, but the entire spirit vein of the West River Plain. Ask the boundless earth, who will rise and fall. The black sword sense spread across the sky. A sword sense that was as strong as the purple wind swept across. Under this sword sense, the land of 1,000 li was shrouded by the black sword chi. The groups of demonic beasts and demon soldiers that the purple-haired demoness brought screamed incessantly under the sword sense. Their bodies were crushed into a bloody pulp. As for the purple tornadoes that came from all directions, they were destroyed by the black sword chi that went into the eye of the tornadoes. Only a few intermediate gold core demonic beasts and demon soldiers were able to survive in the midst of wailing. However, they were heavily injured. One move of the 9 purple destruction technique killed hundreds of demonic beasts. Even though the purple-haired demoness was experienced and knowledgeable, she couldn't help but be secretly shocked. Sword sense. I didn't expect you to have such an item that can restrain demonic arts. The purple-haired demoness was shocked that Ning Fan, a harmonious spirit cultivator, could break her magical art with his sword sense. She was so shocked that she couldn't speak a word. The power of this sword sense wasn't enough to hurt her, but it was enough for her to pay attention to it. This kid can't be underestimated. He's just a harmonious spirit cultivator who could grasp the sword sense. He can't be a nobody. However, she was determined to get the All-Heaven relic, so she wouldn't be scared off by the sword sense. The first round ended in a draw. To her, it was a humiliation. A nascent soul cultivator and a harmonious spirit cultivator had a draw. Ridiculous. You will die in the next strike. Her killing intent was aroused, but her voice was unusually pleasant to the ears. It didn't match her ugly appearance at all. Moreover, there was a trace of demonic power in her voice. It had the power of seduction, but it didn't work on Ning Fan. The demoness didn't notice that during the battle between the demonic art and the sword sense, the distance between Ning Fan and her had shortened to 500 zhang. Ning Fan didn't use his strongest technique right from the start. That might force the demoness to use her trump card. Ning Fan wanted to break the demoness' vigilance while approaching her. He wanted to capture her with his plucking finger. The first round didn't end in a draw. In the second round, the demoness decided not to hold back. She patted her storage pouch and took out a half-supreme grade purple flying sword. It emitted waves of ancient qi. She blew a breath of nascent soul qi and the flying sword immediately grew to 1 zhang long. The purple light shone brightly and the sword qi was overbearing. The tip of the sword pointed straight at Ning Fan like an unstoppable lightning strike. Moreover, the sword light was extremely strange. It was flickering like the instantaneous movement of a nascent soul realm cultivator. Every time the sword light flickered, it could move 100 zhang away. In just a few flashes, the sword light had already arrived in front of Ning Fan. This sword light was too fast. Even Ning Fan's expression changed slightly. Such a fast sword. This is the spirit augmentation divine art, teleportation divine art. The flickering sword light was the spirit augmentation divine art. The flying sword's teleportation was the hardest to block. It was easy to grab the flying sword with one's body and difficult to block with a flying sword. There was a hint of pride in the demoness' eyes. Although this sword wasn't supreme grade, the grade of the spirit augmentation divine art was so high that even a supreme grade magical treasure might not be able to match it. The only way to break this divine art was to reach the nascent soul realm and understand the heaven and earth primordial qi. Only by breaking the heaven and earth primordial qi of the flying sword and stopping its teleportation would one be able to block this sword. A gold core cultivator couldn't understand the heaven and earth primordial qi. In order to block this sword, he could only use his defense to block it. Ning Fan wasn't a true nascent soul realm, so he couldn't control the heaven and earth primordial qi to stop the flying sword's teleportation. However, he had a strong enough defensive technique to block this flying sword. His body turned into a rainbow and flew back 1,000 zhang. His eyes flashed with a trace of spirituality. As his spirit sense moved, a black spirit sense turned into a ray of light and wrapped around Ning Fan. It was like a black egg or a giant cocoon, wrapping Ning Fan's body inside. The fierce flying sword stabbed the black ray of light. It was just a spirit sense barrier, invisible and formless. However, it felt like it had hit an iron wall. It could only penetrate half an inch and couldn't break the black light. The second art of divine art, sense defense art. It was cast by an early nascent soul realm spirit sense. It was enough to withstand a full blow from an early nascent soul realm cultivator. The purple-haired demoness was slightly startled and puzzled. Spirit sense barrier. Could it be that Ning Fan was casting a demonic art? But if it was a demonic art, why didn't he form a hand seal? No, that's not right. This technique was different from the demonic art of borrowing spirit power. It wasn't borrowing spirit power, but it was using spirit sense to defend. This technique was definitely the first time the purple-haired demoness had seen such a technique in her life. However, what happened next shocked her. After Ning Fan blocked the flying sword, the lightning star on his glabella flashed. Lightning appeared on his right finger and he gently pointed at the flying sword. Immediately, the flying sword trembled as if it had received a heavy blow. The dignified half-step supreme-grade magical treasure was covered with cracks and its spirituality was greatly reduced. It no longer had the ability to kill the enemy with instantaneous movement. The demoness couldn't imagine how strong Ning Fan's physical body was to be able to crack the half-step supreme-grade magical treasure and destroy its spirituality without using any body-refining technique. At this moment, she realized that she had underestimated the insignificant, harmonious spirit Junior in front of her. She also realized that the distance between her and Ning Fan had shortened to 200 zhang. Thinking of Ning Fan's horrifying body refining technique, the demoness felt her scalp tingle. She immediately flashed and tried to distance herself from Ning Fan. However, it was too late. Ning Fan didn't use his full strength in the two attacks. It was to make the demoness careless so that he could get closer to her. She couldn't escape from a distance of 200 zhang. In an instant, Ning Fan's eyes flashed with killing intent. The thunder star on his glabella flashed and lightning danced in the clear sky. Imperial Lightning Star. As he pointed his finger, the lightning in the sky seemed to be attracted and turned into layers of lightning sea, engulfing the demoness. The timing of this lightning attack was too vicious. It was beyond the demoness' expectation. What shocked her was that a mere harmonious spirit cultivator could actually control the heavenly lightning. Streaks of lightning formed a prison, blocking the demoness' escape route. Then, lightning shot out from all directions, locking her in place so that she couldn't teleport. Taking advantage of the time when the demoness was trapped, Ning Fan's body shone with black light. He actually used teleportation. With one teleportation, he was already very close to the demoness across the sea of lightning. At such a close distance, the demoness suddenly felt an irresistible aura from Ning Fan. What kind of aura was that? It made her feel powerless to break free. The only thing she could do was to sink into oblivion. She couldn't escape from the lightning for a moment. An unknown danger was hiding in Ning Fan's body and was approaching her step by step. Should I use the rune on my glabella to use the demon general's attack? The demoness hesitated, but she was afraid that she had underestimated Ning Fan's strength and wasted this precious chance to save her life. Perhaps, that sense of danger was just an illusion. No matter how heaven-defying a mere harmonious spirit cultivator was, how could he give her an irresistible feeling? He wasn't a spirit-severing cultivator after all. The demoness formed a seal with her 10 fingers and cast a demonic technique to weaken the lightning blockade. At the same time, her face turned angry and she shouted, "You demon guards, how long are you going to watch the battle? Quickly stop this person for me." The demoness felt sullen when she thought that she needed the help of mere demon guards to deal with a harmonious spirit cultivator. However, it was her fault for being careless and allowing the opponent to summon the lightning blockade. It would take some time to break the lightning blockade. During this time, Ning Fan must not use teleportation to launch a sneak attack. Hundreds of demons were killed by Ning Fan's sword sense. Only a dozen mid and late gold core demons were left. These demons were extremely afraid of Ning Fan. They didn't dare to get involved in the battle, but they also didn't dare to leave without permission. However, since they were ordered by the demoness, they could only bite the bullet and turn into a ray of light to block the demoness' path to delay Ning Fan for a moment. A moment was enough. Once the demoness broke free from the lightning, she would naturally block Ning Fan and the other demons wouldn't need to intervene. However, these demons thought too highly of him. Facing the group of demons, Ning Fan's eyes suddenly shrouded with a layer of coldness. It was different from sword sense. The bones in his body made a cracking sound. His punch was actually a nascent realm body refining technique, ice shattering. The punch broke the ice. Thousands of zhang of heaven and earth seemed to be frozen. However, under the force of the punch, the ice crumbled and disintegrated. Along with the crisp cracking sound, the mid and late gold core demons were like ice cubes. Their bodies were so fragile that they couldn't even withstand a gust of wind. One after another, they were crushed into pieces of ice shards and died. No matter how strong a demon's body was, they couldn't resist the punch at all. Now that they were close to the Sea of Lightning, Ning Fan no longer held back. He wanted to catch the demoness. The demoness would never have thought that Ning Fan had a strong body that could kill a group of demons with a single punch. Since he had such a body, why didn't he use it in the first encounter? If he did, she would definitely be defeated and could only escape. Could it be that he purposely showed weakness in order to make me careless and capture me alive? Her pretty face changed color for the first time. The strength of Ning Fan in front of her was far beyond her expectation. She didn't have the confidence to win. No, even if she risked her life, she only had a 30% chance of winning. Under the lightning, she was slightly injured. Careless. She had underestimated Ning Fan's strength. It seemed like it would be difficult to snatch the relic today unless she used her trump card. However, she could only use that trump card once. She wasn't willing to use it. The lightning had yet to be completely destroyed, but the demoness knew that she couldn't wait any longer. She had to choose between using her trump card or temporarily retreat. Forget it. I'll retreat today. I'll kill this person and snatch the relic in the future. The demoness' eyes turned ruthless. She gritted her teeth and patted her storage pouch to take out a few ancient demon talismans and patted them on her chest. Immediately, demonic chi surged and she forcefully broke through the lightning. Unfortunately, even with the talismans on her body, the talismans immediately turned into ashes and dissipated under the lightning. When the demoness managed to break through the lightning, she had already suffered some injuries from the lightning. This was the price of forcefully resisting the lightning with her body. Lightning was the heavenly tribulation. How could a cultivator withstand it? No matter if it was a human or a demon, they could only be careful when facing the heavenly tribulation. As for the legends of immortals in the mortal world, most of them were just nonsense. Only a small number of fiend gods could withstand the lightning with their bodies. As soon as she got out of the lightning, she immediately teleported away. But behind her, Ning Fan flashed with a black light and teleported away. His ice-shattering fist hit the spot where the demoness was teleporting. The 1,000 zhang tall ice was shattered in a single breath. Break! Ning Fan's cold voice was heard. Under the power of his fist, the clear sky was shattered. The demoness vomited blood and fell to the ground. There seemed to be an extremely cold force in the fist. Once it entered the demoness body, it would be hard to erase it. This is the bewitching technique? How did he plant this technique? The demoness' demonic force began to slow down. It was not enough for her to teleport away. It was even difficult for her to fly. She could only grit her teeth and fall from the sky. Forcefully using her demonic force to expel the cold force was actually futile. This is the Yin plucking finger. From today onwards, you are no longer one of the 12 demon companions, but my cauldron. Ning Fan's cold voice resounded behind her. He continuously poked the demoness back for tens of times. Layers of Yin plucking finger force entered her back, causing her body to become softer and softer. Her ugly face began to flush. What kind of bewitching technique is this, and how did you know that I am the demon companion of the demon general? The demoness gritted her teeth and said angrily. She knew that she had fallen into Ning Fan's hands today. She couldn't even activate the rune on her glabella, let alone resist. She was careless, she shouldn't have let Ning Fan get close to her again and again. It would have been better if she had directly used the demon general's attack. Ning Fan didn't relax even after completely sealing the demoness' demonic force. He remembered that the Camellia Demoness could still summon the demon general's shadow from the rune on her own when her demonic force was sealed. This time, he wasn't going to give the shadow a chance to condense. He poked the glabella with his finger. The shadow of Separation Slayer flew out. The moment the blood light rose from the demoness' glabella, the tip of the sword immediately pierced the rune on her forehead. Suddenly, a man's groan was heard from the rune. But before the sound could condense, it dissipated. This meant that the demoness had completely lost her ability to resist. You dare to hurt Lord Li Ban. You deserve to die. Murderous intent flashed in the demoness' eyes. If you yell at me again, you will regret it. From today onwards, you will be my second nascent soul cauldron. The first one was the Camellia Demon, and you are Feng Xinzi. What? Camellia demon? Could it be? The purple-haired demoness was secretly shocked. Could it be that the camellia demon that Ning Fan mentioned was the person that she knew? However, Ning Fan didn't answer the question of the purple-haired demoness. He used his bewitching art to knock the demoness out and kept her in his cauldron ring. 3 moves to capture the demoness. If it was a man, he would have to fight bitterly and he wouldn't have the confidence to win. Unfortunately, since it was a demoness, there was nothing to worry about. On Heshi Plain, Ho Lian's heart was like a sudden clap of thunder, his body trembling. Each and every gold core demonic demon with terrifying cultivation base died just like that. And the infamous demon Lieutenant Jifeng was captured just like that. Terrifying. This devil named Zhou Ming was too terrifying. What was the actual strength of this Zhou Ming? Even a mid-nascent soul cultivator might not be able to capture an early nascent soul cultivator alive. The more Ho Lian thought about it, the more he compared Ning Fan to a late nascent soul cultivator or even a peak nascent soul cultivator. He was getting more and more afraid of Ning Fan and dared not to offend him. This Zhou Ming is a star of calamity, definitely a star of calamity. This was Ho Lian's final conclusion. The second nascent soul cauldron, but this was still his victory through trickery. True nascent soul experts wouldn't all be women. If he had a nascent soul cultivation base, he would definitely be able to crush this woman. My strength is still not enough. I need to form my core as soon as possible. Ning Fan collected all the storage pouches on the ground and turned his head to look at the horizon, as if he had sensed something. There were a few tyrannical chi flying towards them. Perhaps they had sensed the unusual phenomenon of the battle here. The 4 human experts should be the reinforcements of Wei country from the Rain Palace. It would be troublesome if they were discovered. It was better not to meet them. Show me the way to your sect. Without giving Ho Lian a chance to ask, Ning Fan grabbed Ho Lian like a little chick and teleported, disappearing from Heshi Plain. Zi Feng had been captured successfully. Next, he would plunder Wei country before leaving. The second nascent soul cauldron and the second spirit-severing talisman were in his hands. This trip to Wei country was not in vain. After the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, 4 nascent soul experts with different appearances landed on Heshi Plain. Their eyes were filled with shock when they saw the drastic change. It's a battle between nascent soul experts. It can't be wrong. An old man who looked like a scholar said with a solemn expression. It seems like it has just happened. Judging from the lingering chi, it should be a battle between a human and a demon. Judging from the strength of the chi, it should be a human expert who won, said a middle-aged man in Taoist robe. Human? That's strange. Apart from us, the 4 divine messengers of the Rain Palace, is there anyone else who came to assist Wei country? A beautiful woman who looked to be in her 30s said with a strange expression. Big brother Yunlai, what do you think? The beautiful woman looked at an ugly burly man who was dressed in hemp clothes and spoke with extreme respect. I don't have any opinion. The burly man's ugly face showed some impatience. He didn't seem to care about the battle here at all. It was just a battle between early nascent soul experts. It was just child's play. Although the scene seemed huge, in fact, the 2 of them didn't have a life and death battle. Would it end just like that? The other 3 people seemed to understand the ugly man's personality very well, but they didn't dare to show any dissatisfaction. The old scholar, the middle-aged Taoist and the beautiful woman were all early nascent soul experts, but the ugly man was a peak nascent soul expert. Therefore, no matter how arrogant the ugly man was, how rude his words were, or how ugly his appearance was, the 3 of them didn't dare to provoke him. Let's go and pursue the other demons and devils. Since there are friends who are slaying demons and aren't willing to show themselves, it's most likely that they don't want others to know their identities. We don't need to find out anymore. As soon as the old scholar said that, the others nodded in agreement. Only the ugly man didn't seem to care. However, when the others left, he took a few deep glances at the remnant of this place. There was a trace of puzzlement and strangeness in his eyes. The chi of a human nascent soul expert was somewhat familiar. And it was a very familiar aura. Where had he seen it before? The ugly man would never have thought that the person who won the battle with the female demon was a childish youth he met when he passed by Sinister Sparrow sect in U country during his mission. Therefore, his indifferent face revealed a conflicted expression. It was a familiar feeling, but he couldn't recall it. It was too unbearable. Who is it? Old Monster Chin, Old Taoist Ma, or... No, it's all wrong. Who is it? I'm sure I've seen him before. Unfortunately, the ugly man didn't associate the identity of a nascent soul expert with that youth at all. With a flash of a rainbow, he vanished without a trace. Chapter 160. Sect leader Zhongzhe was sitting upright and still in the main hall. His white eyebrows and beard were white, and he was sweating profusely. His usually shocked face was now filled with nervousness. An early-stage gold core cultivator should not show his emotions, but today, when Yuanjua Valley was in danger, he could not remain calm no matter what. There were hundreds of cultivators from the 7 sects in the Grand Hall, glaring at Zhongzhe like a tiger watching its prey. Zhongzhe. Hand over the All-Heaven Relic. My Mo Saint sect found out that your sect's elder Ho Yen obtained this relic from the founding ancestors' desolate hill a few days ago. This is the heirloom of Wei country. Don't tell me that your Yuanjua Valley is thinking of monopolizing it. An old man in a purple kasaya had silver hair and beard. He didn't look angry, but he was powerful. As he spoke, the aura of a peak golden core swept through the main hall. Under its aura, Zhongzhe complained incessantly and was powerless to resist its pressure. The difference in strength between an early-stage golden core and a peak-stage golden core was like heaven and earth. The purple-robed man in front of him was one of the 7 patriarchs of Wei country's 7 major sections. His name was Mo Shisheng, also known as Saint Mo. This move was extraordinary. An intermediate gold core cultivator couldn't even take a single palm strike. After Mo Shisheng's words, the other 6 sects immediately started to question him. Zhongzhe. Hand over the relic and my White Gate Pavilion won't cause trouble in your sect today, said a white-robed youth. He had a head of white hair and a sinister tone. He was clearly an expert of the demonic path. The All-Heaven Relic is a supreme treasure. It's not something a second-rate sect like yours deserves. The square-faced old monk, who was also an ancestor-level figure, spoke with a sharp tone. Hand over the relic. Otherwise, Yuanjua Valley will be destroyed today. Zhongzhe, don't be so stubborn. Threatening voices rose and fell in the hall, but Zhongzhe could only sigh in response. All-Heaven Relic. If Yuanjua Valley really had such an item, Zhongzhe would definitely hand it over to the 7 sects for peace. Currently, the old ancestors of the 7 sects were not people that Zhongzhe could afford to offend. In Yuanjua Valley, including Zhongzhe and Ho Yen, there were at least 2 gold core experts. Moreover, both of them were at the early stage. Even if they encountered a gold core elder from a first-rate sect, they would not be a match for them. Not to mention that Mo Shisheng and the other old ancestors of the 7 great sects were gathered in Yuanjua Valley. Any one of them had the strength to flatten Yuanjua Valley. Hand it over. If there was a Sarira, he would definitely hand it over. But he didn't. Indeed, the first person to discover the relic was a disciple of Yuanjua Valley. Indeed, Elder Ho Yen led a group of novice disciples to obtain the relic. But unexpectedly, it just so happened that the state of Wei was in chaos and demons were rising from all directions. Judging from the time, Ho Yen should have returned to the sect a long time ago. Zhongzhe was not stupid. Since the 7 great sects had come to Yuanjua Valley to cause trouble, they must have received news that Ho Yen had obtained the relic. As for Ho Yen, after obtaining the All-Heaven Relic, he had yet to return to his sect. He was either killed by the demons or had secretly escaped with the treasure. It was also possible that one of the old ancestors of the 7 sects had obtained the relic, but they did not reveal anything and shifted the blame to Yuanjua Valley. It was hard to say, hard to say. In the cultivation world, people's hearts were unpredictable. Who knew where the All-Heaven relic was now? There was no lack of divination experts among the 7 great sects' ancestors. However, this All-Heaven relic was able to conceal itself from the heavens, preventing them from divining its whereabouts. If Hou Yan took the treasures and fled, then Zhongzhe would definitely hate this traitor to the core for bringing disaster to the sect. The sect would be annihilated. If Hou Yan died in the chaos caused by the monsters, then even if Zhongzhe had 100 mouths, there would be no way for him to explain what had happened today. If he couldn't produce the relic, then his sect would surely be destroyed. Perhaps the 7 great sects would search Zhongzhe's soul after his sect was destroyed. Perhaps they would search Zhongzhe's soul and erase his memories. Only then would they confirm that Yuanjua Valley hadn't obtained the relic. If one of the old ancestors of the 7 great sects obtained the relic and shifted the blame to Yuanjua Valley, then Yuanjua Valley would be annihilated without a doubt. Only death could cut off all traces of the relic. Sigh, what kind of sins have I, Zhongzhe, accumulated to actually be forced into a corner by the 7 great sects? Zhongzhe closed his eyes in disappointment and his expression eventually became calm. Forget it, forget it. No matter where the relic went, I won't be able to escape death today. Zhongzhe, are you going to hand over the All-Heaven relic or not? Mo Shisheng questioned for the last time. I didn't take the relic. I swear on my heart devil. Zhongzhe said bitterly. Humph. Stubborn. Since that's the case, fellow Taoists don't need to show any mercy. Even if we have to flatten Yuanjua Valley today, we must find the relic. As soon as Mo Shisheng's words fell, the expressions of the 7 great old ancestors turned cold and murderous. Regardless of whether they were righteous or evil, none of them would be merciful when it came to the heirloom of the nation like the All-Heaven relic. The young novice monks of Yuanjua Valley trembled slightly under the murderous aura of hundreds of cultivators from the 7 great sects. There were even countless disciples who knelt down and begged the sect master not to bring harm to the sect just for a relic. As soon as the murderous intent was released, a few young novice monks were immediately sacrificed. Zhongzhe's eyes revealed a trace of hatred. He opened his eyes and roared. Mo Shisheng. I've said that I didn't take the relic. Even if I did, this matter has nothing to do with the disciples of my sect. How dare you? Good. Good. A mere early gold core cultivator dares to shout at me? You must die. Not a single disciple of your sect shall live. Mo Shisheng sneered as his murderous intent was released. Waves of golden light appeared around his body as Sanskrit chants continued. His palm seemed to have turned into a pure gold color as he slammed it towards Zhongzhe through the air without the slightest bit of magical power. However, the Sanskrit chants suddenly turned into golden wheels that rotated continuously above the main hall and condensed into a huge pure gold palm that was at least 100 feet in size. Even the fingerprints were golden as it overturned the roof of the main hall and pressed down towards Zhongzhe. Nascent realm lower grade body tempering technique, golden will palm. Every time the golden will rotated, the strength of the palm would increase by more than 10%. This palm was truly Mo Shisheng's sure kill attack. He was a Zen cultivator who had refined his body all his life and was already at the Silver Light 9th realm, not far from the Silver Bone realm. He could even take 2 to 3 moves from an ordinary nascent soul realm cultivator. The power of this palm made the other 6 old ancestors silent out of fear. Even if the other 6 old ancestors were all peak gold core realm cultivators, none of them could take on this palm without getting injured. As for Zhongzhe, who was locked on by the palm energy, the immortal veins in his body were on the verge of breaking and his gold core was on the verge of shattering. If he couldn't take it, he could only die. But he couldn't accept it, couldn't accept it. He was unwilling to be bullied and humiliated because of his low cultivation base. Mo Shisheng. I'll remember this. I'll remember this. Remember? Unfortunately, you won't be able to remember anything when I search your soul and memory. Even if you do remember, what can you do to me? With your early gold core realm cultivation base, you won't be my opponent even if you cultivate for another 500 years. Die. Mo Shisheng laughed as he suppressed Zhongzhe with his palm energy. Zhongzhe was bathed in blood and his jade throne was shattered. He was like a bloody man pressed to the ground by the palm energy. Dead, I'm going to die. However, at this moment, an aura that was several times stronger than Mo Shisheng's reverberated in Yuanjua Valley. The air in the entire main hall was suddenly frozen by an icy force. Along with the sound of ice shattering, the golden wool palm that even nascent soul realm cultivators had to spend some effort to withstand was actually shattered. Amidst the sound of shattering ice, the golden wool shattered, and the palm energy dissipated into golden light. However, the power of the fist didn't diminish and the ice kept shattering. Amidst a series of shattering sounds, the cultivators of the seven sects were affected by the fist energy. The harmonious spirit realm cultivators exploded into blood mist almost immediately. Dozens of gold core realm cultivators from the seven sects were heavily injured even though each of them had extraordinary body refinement. Even the old ancestors of the seven sects were in an extremely sorry state. Mo Shisheng, whose palm energy was broken, spurted out a mouthful of golden blood. For the first time in his life, his eyes weren't filled with arrogance, but fear. He raised his head abruptly and saw a white-robed, black-cloaked, indifferent young man holding Ho Yen in one hand and the icy force in the other. Just a gaze from him made Mo Shisheng feel a stabbing pain, as if his sea of consciousness was about to shatter. He stuttered and couldn't utter a complete sentence. This. Who is this? I'm old ancestor Yuanjue. Now, I need an explanation. Ning Fan's voice was cold. Under his voice, all the cultivators of the seven sects who were extremely arrogant earlier lowered their heads, not daring to look directly at his eyes. This person actually said that he was old ancestor Yuanjua Valley. Was there such an expert in Yuanjua Valley? What was this person's cultivation base? Chapter 161. His eyes carried a cold glint, and his hair was as black as ink. The pressure he exuded alone caused everyone in Yuanjua Valley to keep quiet out of fear. The sound of ice shattering was like a demonic sound that penetrated deep into everyone's heart. The ice shattered and the person died. The harmonious spirit old monsters of Wei country didn't even have the chance to resist the power of the fist. The golden core cultivators of the seven sects were usually very arrogant, but when they saw the young man, it was as if they had seen something terrifying. The power of the ice fist was no weaker than an attack from a nascent soul cultivator. When the ice shattered, the ancestors of the seven sects had already used their most powerful life-saving techniques and magical treasures, but they were still in a difficult situation. The corners of their eyes shrank, and they were all on high alert. Even Mo Shisheng began to ponder over countermeasures. The young man in front of him was most likely a nascent soul master. Even if that wasn't the case, that punch alone was enough for them to view this young man as their greatest enemy. Especially Mo Shisheng, whose golden wool palm had been broken through, had a clear understanding of the strength of the young man's physique technique. There was no mistaking it. The young man who had suddenly appeared and claimed to be Yuanjue Gu's patriarch was a silver bone body tempering realm cultivator. Even if he used his full strength, he wouldn't have much of a chance of defeating Silver Bone. He did not expect Yuanjua Valley to have such a person guarding it. Today's attempt to obtain the All-Heaven relic would most likely be fruitless. This was something that even sect leader Zhongzhe did not understand. Yuanjua Valley had such an ancestor master. Mo Shisheng's expression gradually calmed down from the initial shock. This person wanted an explanation. What kind of explanation could they give? It was obvious that they were trying to kill someone to steal their treasures. How could they explain this? Perhaps, this young man was only asking for compensation. They did kill the disciples of Yuanjua Valley, but this young man killed hundreds of harmonious spirit realm disciples of the 7 sections. How should they settle this debt? After a closer inspection, Mo Shisheng and the other old ancestors' expressions suddenly changed. Strange, this young man's bone age is less than 20 years old, and his aura has been withdrawn, revealing his cultivation base to be at the harmonious spirit realm. The 7 of them looked at each other and saw the confusion in each other's eyes. Could it be that this person only had a powerful physical body, but his cultivation was not high? If that was the case, even if this person had some tricks up his sleeves, if the 7 of them worked together, there was no need to fear him. If he wasn't afraid, then the 7 sects wouldn't need to explain anything to him. On the contrary, he was the one who needed to explain everything to the old monsters. Where did this little brat come from? Relying on his body refining technique, he pretended to be old ancestor Yuanjua Valley and annihilated hundreds of harmonious spirit experts from the 7 sections. He must be tired of living. Mo Shisheng's face darkened as he snorted coldly. Yuanjua Valley doesn't have an old ancestor like you. Who exactly are you? As soon as he finished speaking, a cold light flashed across Ning Fan's eyes. A shocking killing intent made Mo Shisheng's hair stand on end, rendering him speechless. He had been cultivating the Tao for 1,000 years and he could be considered to have experienced many life and death situations. At this moment, under Ning Fan's killing intent, he felt as if he had returned to the weak and helpless state he was when he first started cultivating. This feeling would only appear when facing nascent soul realm cultivators. A mistake. This young man cannot be a harmonious spirit cultivator, he must be a nascent soul cultivator. He wants to kill me. Without any hesitation, Mo Shisheng spat out a few mouthfuls of blood essence. His entire body turned into a 20-meter-tall giant, and his robes were torn to shreds, with golden Sanskrit characters floating on them. Under this self-damaging secret technique, his body-refining realm had temporarily broken through to the silver light 10th realm, almost reaching the silver bone realm. Just as he finished doing this, Ning Fan's cold voice resounded through the main hall. As I said, I want an explanation. Black light flickered around Ning Fan's body. The heaven and earth primordial chi fluctuated around his body. In a flash, he teleported like a sharp sword and appeared in front of Mo Shisheng in an instant. He came here with the identity of old ancestor Yuanjua Valley to demand wealth, nothing more. Before demanding wealth, he would take Mo Shisheng's life to establish his prestige. In Ning Fan's eyes, the latter's 20-meter-tall giant body was just so. With a wave of one hand, waves of ice-shattering fist light and lightning struck towards Mo Shisheng fiercely. The arm of a 20-meter-tall giant was strong enough to fight against ordinary high-grade magical treasures, but under Ning Fan's grasp, the arm suddenly turned into ice and exploded into pieces under the lightning with a loud bang. That escape technique was teleportation, and that lightning was the innate ability to control lightning. Mo Shisheng was already terrified. He screamed and his chi immediately weakened. Every inch of a body refining cultivator's muscles and bones had been tempered thousands of times. Once his arm was broken, his body refining realm would immediately fall. He took dozens of steps back before he could stabilize his body. With every step he took, his chi became weaker. There was only fear left in his eyes. Without giving Mo Shisheng any chance to breathe, Ning Fan's body flashed with black light and he teleported several times. It was as if he had turned into several phantoms and appeared above Mo Shisheng's head. His 5 palms struck at the giant's body and the top of his head at the same time. The sound of 5 muscles and bones being crushed was heard. Mo Shisheng's blood gushed out like a fountain and his body was like mud. It was difficult for him to maintain his Dharma form and desperate divine ability. His body refining technique was almost completely destroyed, but he couldn't bring himself to feel resentment. His heart was already desperate, and the only thing left in his mind was to escape. Mo Shisheng bit the tip of his tongue and used all of his magical power and the last few mouthfuls of blood essence. His body turned into a wisp of smoke and sank into the ground, escaping at a speed faster than a half-step nascent soul realm cultivator. This technique actually escaped from under Ning Fan's eyes, which made Ning Fan very surprised. If he was not mistaken, what Mo Shisheng used was actually an imitation of the lost divine ability of the ancient fiend gods, the earth escape technique. Even if it was an imitation technique, it wasn't something that could be easily used by those without the fiend god physique. That was why Mo Shisheng had consumed so much magical power and blood essence in the earth escape technique. Even with Ning Fan's body refining technique, he couldn't break the layer of soil and capture Mo Shisheng after burrowing 1,000 zhang into the ground. Humans couldn't go into the soil, but spirit sense could. Ning Fan's temperament changed. His eyes became colder and black marks appeared on his face. His whole body seemed to be covered in thick ink, turning into millions of black sword scents and sinking into the soil to chase after Mo Shisheng. As soon as this technique was used, the old ancestors of the other 6 sects exclaimed in surprise. What? This person is already so powerful, but he still knows a technique like Saint Mo's. Isn't Saint Mo in danger? The old ancestors of the 6 sects never thought that Wei country's #1 expert, Mo Shisheng, couldn't fight back against Ning Fan. When Mo Shisheng used the earth escape technique, all the old monsters were sure that Mo Shisheng could escape. However, Ning Fan was like a maggot attached to a bone and still had the means to chase after him. The exclamations of the old monsters were only met with a sneer from Ho Yen. Saint Mo is in danger. It wasn't just dangerous. This black torrent spirit splitting technique was an extremely powerful technique that could instantly kill dozens of demons. Moreover, Ning Fan was a ferocious devil that could even capture a nascent soul realm female demon alive. A mere Mo Shisheng, a cultivator who would flee at the sight of demon Lieutenant Jifeng, only dared to bully Yuanjue Gu. Mo Shisheng is dead meat. Ho Yen sneered. Nonsense, Saint Mo is the #1 expert in Yu country. A few old ancestors wanted to refute, but they immediately shut their mouths after hearing a sword chime and a scream. Their eyes were filled with shock. 20 li away from Tujua Valley, the ground was blasted by countless black sword chi. The place where the explosion occurred split the earth thousands of zhang wide and the sword chime shook the heavens. Within a few li, not even a blade of grass grew where the sword chi passed. What shocked all the old ancestors was not only the phenomenon of the black sword, but also the miserable scream that couldn't be drowned by the sword chi. Death! Saint Mo's scream. Mo Shisheng is dead. Before the sword chime stopped, Ning Fan had already teleported back with a badly mutilated corpse. Mo Shisheng's corpse. He's really dead. Dead. The #1 expert of Wei country is dead. If it was a bitter battle, everyone could accept it. However, the result was extremely fast, and the life and death was decided in a one-sided battle. From Mo Shisheng's arrogant words to his death, only a dozen breaths had passed. A dozen breaths ago, Mo Shisheng was still the arrogant Saint Mo. A dozen breaths later, he was just a corpse. Each of the old monsters looked at Ning Fan in horror. This person is definitely not a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. He must be a nascent soul realm cultivator. He can only be a nascent soul realm cultivator. Only then could he kill Mo Shisheng in an instant. The abilities of the old ancestors of the 6 sects were weaker than Mo Shisheng. Even if the 6 of them worked together, it would still be difficult for them to survive Ning Fan's deadly attack. If they wanted to escape, they didn't have any escape technique that was faster than teleportation. They also didn't have any secret techniques that were similar to the earth escape technique. Even if they did, would they be able to escape from the black attack? The ability to turn into black and burrow underground was something that the old monsters had never seen before. What should we do? If Ning Fan was here, all the experts of the 7 sects of Wei country and even the nascent soul realm experts of the Rain Palace wouldn't be able to save them in time. If he killed someone, who could escape? Who could resist him? I want an explanation. Before I'm satisfied with it, no one is allowed to leave this place. Ning Fan's gaze swept across the area. Those old monsters who were swept by his gaze immediately shivered and lowered their heads. Zhongzhe was very happy. He couldn't calm down his excitement when he looked at Imo Shisheng's broken corpse. The old ancestors of the 6 sects didn't even dare to breathe loudly in Yuanjua Valley. This was probably the most glorious moment since the establishment of Yuanjua Valley. He was filled with gratitude towards this old ancestor who came from nowhere. Hou Yan, this person is really our old ancestor, it's absolutely true. This old ancestor has only returned after traveling for more than 1,000 years. It's not strange that the sect master doesn't know about it. Forget it. No matter what his identity is, he is our sect's benefactor. If he says he's the old ancestor, then so be it. While Zhongzhe and Hou Yan were conversing, the old ancestors of the 6 sects were terrified. Finally, the second strongest expert of Wei country, the old ancestor of Nanning Valley, asked with a bitter and respectful tone. I wonder what kind of explanation you want in order to satisfy you, Immortal King. Ning Fan withdrew his killing intent and smiled slightly. All the surviving old monsters of the 6 sects were stunned. So this person is here for money. So money is enough. If I knew this earlier, why would Saint Imo risk his life? It's such a small matter to buy a life with money. Injustice, Imo Shisheng's death was too unjust. If he knew that he could save his life with money but died in vain, his intestines would turn green. I wonder how much immortal jade you want. Early gold core realm 20,000 per person, mid gold core realm 40,000 per person, late gold core realm 80,000 per person. As for the old ancestor, it's 200,000 per person. Why? It's not expensive, right? Ning Fan threatened. What? You dare to extort 200,000 immortal kings from me? Do you know the relationship between me and the Rain Palace? Among the old ancestors, Bai Menlu seemed to be dissatisfied. But immediately, Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. With a teleportation, he appeared behind Bai Menlu and pressed his finger. Bai Menlu's expression changed drastically. He immediately activated his body refining technique. His eye sockets became more sunken and he became as skinny as a skeleton. However, the defense of his physical body was raised to the peak of the 8th realm of the Silver Light realm. Then, an evil purple light defense rose. But under Ning Fan's finger, the purple light defense immediately shattered into pieces. Ning Fan's finger landed on his chest. Bai Menlu immediately vomited blood and was seriously injured. He was sent flying backwards and fell heavily on the ground. The first thing he did when he got up was not to run for his life. Instead, he took off his storage pouch and offered it to Ning Fan with both hands while explaining in a panic. He was afraid that he would be killed by Ning Fan if he was one step slower. This is 200,000 immortal jade. Please stop. I know my mistake. 400,000. Ning Fan said coldly. So much. This. Alright, I understand. Junior doesn't have enough immortal jade. Can I use magical treasures to make up for it? Spirit magical treasure, 3rd revolution pill, nascent realm cultivation technique. I don't want anything else. Remember, this is an order, not a negotiation. You don't have a choice. Chapter 162. Immortal jades were precious, but life was even more valuable. Other than a few old monsters who could hand over the immortal jades that Ning Fan demanded, the others couldn't even come up with so many immortal jades. Ning Fan said that they could use 3rd revolution pills, tools, spirit magical treasures and nascent realm cultivation methods as collateral. However, nascent realm cultivation methods would be regarded as a trump card for gold core realm cultivators. Tool spirit magical treasures were also rare and would be used as protective magical treasures. As for 3rd revolution pills, there would never be enough pills to eat, so who would be willing to take them out? In comparison, immortal jades were the cheapest. If they ran out of immortal jades, these old monsters could just ignore their pride and ask for some from the smaller sects that they were attached to. This was Ning Fan's original intention. He offered a sky-high price for the 7 sects to blackmail the subordinate sections. He did not kill all of them even if he could. The reason was that if he massacred all of the peak experts of the 7 sects of Wei country, the Rain Palace would certainly intervene. Ning Fan knew that he was not afraid of Wei country, but the Rain Palace was too powerful. He was not arrogant enough to break off relations with the Rain Palace that had a void fragmentation expert. The reason he came here was because of his identity as Yuanjue Old Ancestor. With this identity, he could kill Mo Shisheng in the name of revenge and the Rain Palace wouldn't be able to say anything. Killing hundreds of harmonious spirit realm experts was to deter and weaken the foundation of the 7 sects. It was to give Yuanjue Valley an environment to develop after he left Wei. The Rain Palace only cared about gold core experts. That was why Ning Fan didn't kill all of them. In essence, he had no enmity with these old monsters. In the end, he just wanted to amass wealth and minimize the trouble after that. For 10 days, he stood with his hands behind his back and only let those early gold core experts who paid the immortal jades leave. As soon as these early gold core experts left, a shocking news spread in Wei. 6 of the old ancestors of the 7 sects were imprisoned and 1 was killed. The culprit was the nascent soul realm old ancestor who had just returned from 1,000 years of traveling in Yuanjue Valley. Many old ancestors of second-rate powers joined the 7 sects and took out all of their immortal jades to redeem their old ancestor. For a moment, there were people rushing to Yuanjue Valley continuously. Every cultivator who came here was very cautious, but when they saw the scene of the old ancestors of the 6 sects standing in front of Ning Fan, not daring to breathe loudly, all of them were shocked. 10 days later, the middle and late-stage golden core cultivators left one by one, leaving only the ancestral patriarchs of the 6 sections. Each of them had to pay 200,000 immortal jades. As for the White Gatehouse, the fee was raised to 400,000 immortal jades because they angered Ning Fan. Ning Fan's eyes were tightly shut from the beginning to the end, looking indifferent. Hou Yan and Zhong Zhe were at the side, who had finished receiving the immortal jades. Let one person go and let one person go. There were 35 primary stage cultivators, 13 intermediate stage cultivators, and 8 advanced stage cultivators. A total of 1.86 million immortal jade filled several storage bags. Zhong Zhe and Hou Yan had never seen such an enormous amount of immortal jade in their entire lives. Even the ancestor-level figures were greatly shocked. If the 6 old ancestors also paid enough immortal jade, Ning Fan would have swept away 3.26 million immortal jade from Wei country. 3.26 million. But it might not be enough. Ning Fan couldn't help but be tempted by such a huge amount of immortal jade. However, he also knew that these immortal jade were insignificant to his current status. It was like a cup of water on a burning cart of firewood, not enough. 3.26 million plus the hundreds of thousands of immortal jade that he had, he would have close to 4 million immortal jade. However, it might not be enough for him to cultivate in the Lost World Palace for a long time. To a gold core realm cultivator, having 100,000 immortal jade was already considered wealthy. To a nascent soul realm cultivator, having millions of immortal jade was a common sight. After all, every nascent soul realm old monster had the strength to flatten a low-grade cultivation country and plunder millions of immortal jade. However, there were many nascent soul realm old monsters who had exhausted their wealth to cultivate in the Lost World Palace. The Lost World Palace in the Endless Sea was worth 1,000 gold a day. 5 days later, the White Gatehouse's old ancestor left after paying 400,000 immortal jade. However, the remaining 5 old ancestors had yet to pay 200,000 immortal jade. It was as if they were waiting for something. 200,000 was their lives. If they could avoid paying, they would naturally be willing to delay for a while. They were waiting for the nascent soul cultivators of the Rain Palace. However, the nascent soul realm cultivators of the Rain Palace seemed to be busy dealing with the demon threat in Wei country and could not come over for the time being. As such, the 5 old ancestors could no longer drag it on and had no choice but to hand over the immortal jades. 200,000 immortal jades, they were considered to be bankrupt, but compared to the 400,000 immortal jades of the White Gate sect, they were considered lucky. Compared to the dead Imo Shisheng, they could be considered to be blessed. At this point, 26 million immortal jades had fallen into Ning Fan's hands. And the Yuanjue nascent soul ancestor, Zhou Ming. His reputation spread far and wide in Wei country. This person was described as a legend by the cultivators of Wei country. 1,000 years ago, Zhou Ming left Yuanjue Valley in Wei country to travel to various countries. After 1,000 miles, he returned after forming his nascent soul. When Yuanjue Valley was in danger, he single-handedly pacified the 7 sects of Wei country. This person's methods were shocking. In just a few moves, he had killed the #1 expert of Wei Kingdom, Imo Shisheng. With just a few words, the cultivators of the 7 sects became as silent as cicadas in winter. This person killed mercilessly, but he had a sense of propriety and didn't annihilate the 7 sections. This person handled matters smoothly. He only asked for the immortal jades and wrote off the enmity between the sects. No one was willing to believe that Zhou Ming was using this opportunity to amass wealth. More people believed that Zhou Ming wanted to establish the prestige of Yuanjue Valley. He wanted to nurture Yuanjue Valley into a first-rate sect and even, the first sect of Wei country. There were endless guesses about Zhou Ming's identity. There were even cultivators who investigated the cause of this incident, the All-Heaven Relic. They secretly guessed that the national treasure of Wei country, the All-Heaven Relic, had fallen into Zhou Ming's hands. No one knew and no one dared to ask about it. If the All-Heaven Relic had to find a master in Wei country, it could only be that old ancestor Zhou Ming. Other than the cultivators of the 7 sects, there were also many rogue cultivators who came to visit Yuanjue Valley, hoping to join this sect. There were also countless second- and third-rate forces who came because of its reputation. They sent messages using secret techniques, hoping to attach themselves to it. In this regard, after Zhong Zhe obtained Ning Fan's consent, he replied them one by one and accepted them all. As for this Zhong Zhe, he willingly allowed Ning Fan to plant a mental seal on him and continued to be the sect master of Yuanjue Valley. In half a month, Yuanjue Valley flourished under Ning Fan's prestige. The main hall was rebuilt, but Ning Fan still stood outside the hall silently. There was another reason why he stayed here. The desolate hill of Wei country's founding ancestor. While he was waiting, Zhong Zhe and Hou Yan were working day and night to collect information about the desolate hill of founding ancestor from various sections. The desolate hill of founding ancestor of Wei country was the place where the founding ancestor passed away. There were his relic, magical treasures and pills left behind. The founding ancestor of Wei was rumored to be a peak spirit severing cultivator. The magical treasures, pills and even cultivation methods that he left behind were naturally extraordinary. To Ning Fan, it was not a small benefit. Rumor has it that there were 5 levels in this secret place. Each level was filled with killing intent. The first level was difficult to enter the vein opening realm, the second level was difficult to enter the harmonious spirit realm, the third level was gold core realm, the fourth level was devoid of nascent soul realm, and the fifth level was dangerous for spirit severing realm. The All-Heaven Relic was obtained from this place, and there were many other treasures of the same grade. Those who weren't cultivators of Wei country couldn't enter, but Ning Fan could enter the desolate hill with the sect master token of Yuanjue Valley. In Yuanjue Valley, Ning Fan closed his eyes and looked at his dantian with his spirit sense. There was a purple golden relic sleeping quietly in his dantian. Under the Buddha light of the relic, all cultivators below void refinement realm would be shielded from divination. This was a supreme treasure. All the information about the desolate hill of founding ancestor had been collected. Ning Fan decided to go there and take away all the treasures left behind by the founding ancestor. However, just as he was about to move, two nascent soul cultivators shot toward him from 500 kilometers away from Yuanjua Valley. Ning Fan, who was about to move, stopped in his tracks. Countless cultivators of Wei country flew towards Yuanjua Valley after sensing the two nascent soul realm cultivators. The two of them were nascent soul realm cultivators of Rain Palace. They came to Yuanjua Valley to ask about the treasures. One of them was dressed like an old scholar while the other was a beautiful woman. Both of them were early nascent soul realm cultivators. The old scholar's voice came from 1,000 miles away, carrying the majestic aura of a nascent soul realm cultivator. Which friend is pretending to be a nascent soul realm cultivator of Wei country and causing trouble in Wei country? Once this voice rang out, it carried a hint of special meaning. It was like the gloomy autumn rain that was about to descend upon the land. The voice carried a green sound wave. Every 100 miles, the green sound wave would ripple and the rain intent would become stronger. 1,000 li away, after 10 reverberations, the green light of the sound wave became darker and pressed down on Ning Fan's location. Immediately, all the soil and rocks within a radius of 1,000 zhang where Ning Fan was standing were disintegrated by the sound wave and the rain intent. A few Gold Core Realm rogue cultivators who had just entered Yuanjua Valley let out a muffled groan under the sound wave. Their blood and qi surged and their expressions changed drastically. They retreated from the sound wave attack. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold when he saw the sound wave. The sound wave was undoubtedly some kind of magical technique. It imitated the great divine ability of the ancient cultivators, the verbal law. As for the rain intent, it imitated the divine intent of rain. However, the divine intent was illusory and incomplete. It wasn't real and it didn't contain the old scholar's understanding. It was completely different from the divine intent that Ning Fan had comprehended. It could only be a false divine intent. Even so, Ning Fan was secretly shocked by the depth of the Rain Palace's foundation. The old scholar and the beautiful woman were undoubtedly nascent soul realm cultivators of Rain Palace. Their purpose of coming here must be to inquire about his plundering of a country. The sound wave had power and form, but it should be a test to test his strength. Even if the old scholar only possessed the false divine intent, it was enough to increase the power of his magical technique. It wasn't something that an ordinary early nascent soul realm cultivator could withstand. The Rain Palace was the ruler of the Rain world. The reason why they could condense the false divine intent for the cultivators under their command was mostly because of the divine intent stone. This was the only thing that could help cultivators inherit the divine intent and create a batch of powerful fighters. The Rain Palace couldn't be underestimated or shaken. As for the old scholar in front of him, he wasn't any weaker than the Black Corpse. He was also a peak early nascent soul realm cultivator, however, it was impossible for him to suppress Ning Fan with the power of the sound wave. Break! The rain intent flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. Within 1,000 zhang radius, it started to drizzle for no reason. As soon as the drizzle fell, the land within a few hundred li radius was covered with dark clouds. Moonlight shone down from the crescent moon. The moonlight melted into the rain. The false divine intent of the sound wave slowly dissipated in the rain. As for the old scholar, his facial expression changed drastically. He wasn't shocked that his magical technique was broken, but something else. The divine intent of rain. The complete divine intent of rain. Impossible. Only the divine messengers of the Rain Palace could master the divine intent. Could this person be a member of my Rain Palace? The qi that Ning Fan emitted in the rain made the beautiful woman's expression change. This qi was very familiar. It was like the mysterious nascent soul realm cultivator who fought against the female demon half a month ago. There's no mistaking it. There's no mistaking it. The beautiful woman was proficient in a type of secret technique. It's impossible for her to be wrong about the qi. Old song, this person is the nascent soul realm cultivator of the human race who fought against the female demon half a month ago. I'm 100% sure. What? The old scholar's expression turned cold again. The old scholar had seen the ruins of the battle between nascent soul realm cultivators half a month ago. He had also deduced that the defeated female demon was Demon Lieutenant Jifeng. Demon Lieutenant Jifeng's 9 purple technique and instant movement flying sword had made the old scholar suffer a lot. However, the mysterious nascent soul realm cultivator defeated Jifeng in a short period of time. The old scholar knew that even if he could defeat Jifeng, it would be after 100 breaths and he wouldn't be able to win without sustaining any injuries. If the person in front of him was the mysterious expert who defeated Jifeng, then this person was most likely stronger than him. Who is this person? Zhou Ming, Zhou Ming. This name is too unfamiliar. Is there such a nascent soul realm expert in the Rain World's southeastern continent? Chapter 163. Both of them were the divine messengers of the Rain Palace, but at this moment, they were both afraid of Ning Fan. This person possessed the intent of rain and was able to defeat Zifeng. This person must not be underestimated. Was he a member of the Rain Palace or ancestor Yuanjue? A distance of 1,000 miles, after dozens of teleportations, he closed in. The two of them stared at Ning Fan intently. However, under Ning Fan's piercing cold gaze, both of them felt pain in their eyes. This child, what a sharp gaze. This old man is Song Yi. Who are you? 1,000 years ago, when I was traveling around Wei country, I had never heard of a golden core old monster named Zhou Ming. 1,000 years ago, you were a gold core cultivator and I was a gold core cultivator. You never heard of me, and I never heard of a Confucian named Song Yi. The old Confucian had an extraordinary aura. He cultivated the Xianmen Confucian technique, which emphasized the cultivation of qi. His aura was even stronger than the black corpse. However, under the pressure of the old scholar's aura force, Ning Fan did not budge at all. He replied indifferently. Among the 7 realms of cultivation, no one could make him yield with just aura force. No one. The first test was the pseudo-divine decree of the sound ripple. The old scholar was slightly weaker. Secondly, the old scholar used his aura force to probe Ning Fan, but he still did not gain the slightest advantage over him. The old scholar, Song Yi, narrowed his eyes. He was even more certain that this person was difficult to deal with. However, when he thought about how this person entered Wei under an assumed name and plundered more than 3 million celestial jades, he couldn't ignore this matter. Exchanging glances with the beautiful woman, the old scholar made up his mind and snorted coldly. Forget it. This old man will believe that you are a cultivator of Wei country. However, even if you are a cultivator of Wei country and have formed your nascent soul, you shouldn't have stolen millions of immortal jades and caused chaos in the country. You want my immortal jade? Before the old scholar could finish his words, Ning Fan interrupted him with a sneer. That's right. I don't care about the matters of Wei. However, since you've obtained such a huge amount of immortal jade from Wei country, according to the Rain World law, you have to hand over 70% of your gains to the Rain Palace. Is that so? Things that have fallen into my hands will never be returned. Ning Fan was not afraid at all. Since you refuse a toast, don't blame us for enforcing the law, for bullying you. Fellow Taoist Lu, let's attack together. The old man's eyes flickered. He was rather fearful of Ning Fan. He knew that the probability of him defeating Ning Fan alone was not high. However, it wouldn't be difficult for them to deal with Ning Fan if they joined hands. As a divine messenger of the Rain Palace, he had his own pride. Even mid and late nascent soul realm cultivators had to treat him with respect. According to the law of the Rain World, the cultivators must hand over 70% of the things they seized from the cultivation countries to the Rain Palace. It would have been fine if they hadn't met, but since they had, the old man naturally wouldn't sit idly by. Song Yi and Lu Yunxiu looked at each other. Then, with a flash of light, they released their auras at the same time, shocking everyone within 100 miles. Unrelated people, leave this place. My Rain Palace is here to enforce the law. Two nascent soul realm cultivators were fighting against each other. Even if all the old monsters wanted to watch the battle, they could only retreat 100 miles away and watch from a distance. In the eyes of the Wei country cultivators, no matter how powerful Zhou Ming was, he was probably not a match for two nascent souls. As for the two nascent soul realm experts, the old scholar and the beautiful woman, they only wanted to let Zhou Ming know how powerful the Rain Palace was, so that he would obediently hand over the immortal jades. They had no intention of fighting to the death. This battle would eventually end with Zhou Ming's defeat. He would have to hand over the jade and make peace with the two divine envoys. Many old monsters had heard of this kind of law enforcement before. The Rain Palace would not easily kill a nascent soul realm old monster. Every single one of them was a precious force of the Rain world. Ning Fan naturally knew about this. That was why he had the intention of competing with the old man. All along, he had relied on the yin-yang transformation and the yin plucking finger to kill two nascent soul realm female demons. However, the only time he fought against a nascent soul realm old monster was when he fought against the Black Corpse. Today was the best chance for him to fight against a nascent soul realm expert. Moreover, Ning Fan wasn't willing to hand over 70% of the immortal jades. 70% was equivalent to more than 2 million immortal jades. He had seized them himself. How could he hand them over? Unless he was defeated, he would never hand over the immortal jades. After the two divine messengers gave the order, all the cultivators including the elders and disciples of Yuanjue Valley hurriedly retreated from the valley. As soon as the two of them separated, the beautiful woman immediately formed a hand seal. Her delicate body moved like lightning. After teleporting a few times in the sky, she suddenly disappeared without a trace. In the sky, a whirlpool of blue light that spanned 100 zhang was formed. Within the whirlpool, clusters of blue flames kept appearing and exploded in the sky. They turned into blue fire rain with the fragrance of orchids. When the beautiful lady reappeared, she clawed at the blue whirlpool with her bare hand. All of the fiery rain condensed on her palm and turned into a 100 zhang tall dark blue fire ruler. Then, she swung it at Ning Fan. 100 li away, the cultivators who were watching the battle were in an uproar. Fourth grade spiritual fire, blue flame. Using this flame to cast a nascent realm low-grade magical technique and turn it into a fire ruler is truly extraordinary. I heard that a few days ago, Fairy Lu used a ruler to burn tens of li of the wasteland when she was executing the demons. This ruler was extraordinary. After the old scholar separated from the beautiful woman, he patted his storage pouch and a sword appeared in his hand. He dashed towards Ning Fan and pointed the sword at him. Supreme grade magical treasure, profound heroic sword. The number of demons that were slain by this sword was uncountable. The two of them did not hold back at all. They wanted to intimidate Ning Fan with just one move. It was too difficult for Ning Fan to fight against two nascent soul realm cultivators alone. Even if he had the yin-yang transformation, it would be difficult for him to get close to the beautiful woman and launch a sneak attack with the yin plucking finger when the beautiful woman was already on guard against him. As such, he could only go all out. He patted his storage pouch. Immediately, a small person in the color of black and gold appeared in his palm like a clay doll. He then threw it towards the beautiful woman in the sky. At the same time, a silver light flashed between his eyebrows and his body turned into a 99 zhang tall giant. The small person in black and gold grew with the wind. In a flash, he turned into a black-armored refined corpse. Corpse chi covered the sky. The corpse claw grabbed the void and the 100 zhang tall blue light whirlpool above the beautiful woman's head was shattered. The moment Ning Fan turned into a giant, the light on his fist was filled with dense ice. With a devil roar, he threw a punch. The space within 1,000 zhang radius around the old scholar was frozen. His escape light was shattered by the ice fist and stopped abruptly. That punch was clearly hitting the void, but the old scholar felt that the force of the punch had covered 1,000 zhang. His expression changed drastically. He waved the profound heroic sword. The sword chi moved like lightning and slashed out countless sword techniques. The sword chi turned into circles of sword chi and shrouded his body. Every trace of sword chi was enough to kill a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. However, when the sound of ice shattering was heard, the heaven and earth shook violently. All the sword chi made a shattering sound and shattered. Although the old scholar was not injured, his chest was shaken by the ice-shattering fist. His blood and chi were in turmoil and his eyes were filled with shock. On the other side, the black-armored refined corpse seemed to not feel pain at all. No matter how the beautiful woman's fire ruler landed on his body, it couldn't hurt his body at all. His body was terrifying and heaven-defying. Moreover, the strength of this black-armored refined corpse was really shocking. Every punch was accompanied by a loud bang. After more than 10 punches, countless cracks appeared on the beautiful woman's fire ruler. It was on the verge of exploding. Shock. Absolute shock. Not only were the onlookers in disbelief, even the old scholar and the beautiful woman's expression changed drastically. No one would have thought that Zhou Ming had a refined corpse. Moreover, the refined corpse's physical defense was strong enough to ignore all the attacks of an early nascent soul realm expert. Its strength was strong enough to fight against a nascent soul realm expert. No one would have thought that the old scholar and the beautiful woman would use their trump cards right from the start. However, Zhou Ming easily blocked their attacks and counterattacked. In an instant, the situation became a draw. Silver Bone Realm, strange refined corpse. This Zhou Ming actually had so many tricks up his sleeves. The black corpse and the beautiful woman were in a stalemate. It was hard to tell who would win. At this place, the old scholar and Ning Fan had exchanged blows for the third time. After losing again, the old scholar's fear towards Ning Fan deepened. He stared at the 9 Zhang and 9 Qi giant as if he was facing a great enemy. Before the giant could use the ice-shattering fist for the second time, the old scholar suddenly patted his storage pouch. Instantly, 3 supreme-grade flying swords flew out from his storage pouch. Each of them was extremely similar to the profound heroic sword. Every single one of them gave Ning Fan a sense of danger. For swords, profound heroic sword. Sword suppressing the 4 directions. The old scholar performed a hand seal. The 4 profound heroic swords turned into 4 rays of sword light. After a flash, they suppressed the 4 sides of the giant. This was the sword formation. As soon as the sword formation was formed, rays of ancient sword chi condensed in the 4 profound heroic swords. A trace of desolate killing intent spread out from the swords and revolved around the clear sky. The sword chi was as ancient as the boundless earth. The moment it appeared, heaven and earth within 100 li began to tremble. Indistinctly, there was a sound that sounded like a sword chant or scripture chanting reverberating in the air. The land of the 4 swords, slaughter, trap. At the moment when the sword chi appeared, the beautiful woman who was in a stalemate in the distance was shocked. As for the black corpse, even though it did not have any intelligence, it instinctively trembled. Even further in the distance, the cultivators felt tiny, helpless, and certain death facing the ancient sword energy. Even Ning Fan, who had turned into a giant, had a solemn look in his eyes. But soon after, he sneered. The 4 profound heroic swords imitated the immortal execution sword formation. Moreover, among the 4 swords, there was a trace of immortal execution sword chi that the old scholar found from somewhere, the land of the 4 swords, slaughter, trap, trap. With the 4 swords, the old scholar was able to fight against an intermediate nascent soul realm cultivator without losing. However, what good would this sword chi do to Ning Fan? At this moment, the silent sword consciousness in Ning Fan's sea of consciousness seemed to resonate with a guiding force. His sword sense rolled and retracted. The 4 profound heroic swords that were hanging high in the sky suddenly let out a sorrowful cry. A half-inch crack appeared on each of the swords. Within the crack, 4 rays of ancient sword chi were swept by Ning Fan's sword sense. They were immediately absorbed into his sea of consciousness and turned into nourishment for the sword consciousness. The sword chi in his sea of consciousness became firmer. Even his sword sense was slightly strengthened. As for the 4 profound heroic swords of the old scholar, their power was greatly reduced after the sorrowful cry. Without the immortal execution sword chi, they could no longer activate the sword formation to deal a powerful blow to the giant. I don't understand. I don't understand. The old scholar couldn't understand why the sword chi was snatched away when the sword formation was about to severely injure the giant. The sudden appearance of the black-colored sword sense made his expression change drastically. He suddenly realized that Ning Fan had already condensed the sword consciousness and sword sense. This man can even break the sword formation and snatch my sword chi. In this case, this old man can only use this technique to fight against him. Lightning Sacrificial Compass, set up the lightning sacrificial formation. The old scholar patted his storage pouch and took out dozens of silver formation plates. He separated his hands and the plates floated strangely in front of him. Under the control of his spirit sense, the plates were activated one after another. The silver formation marks of the core realm grand formation appeared one after another in the sky like the Big Dipper. There were a total of 49 lightning formation marks. This was the ancient lightning sacrificial formation. This lightning sacrificial formation was the old scholar's trump card. Once the lightning sacrificial formation was formed, tens of thousands of lightning bolts would fall. It was enough to kill an early nascent soul realm cultivator with a single strike. As for the giant in front of him, even if he didn't die, he would be severely injured. As soon as the formation was activated, the expressions of the cultivators who were watching from afar changed and they immediately fled further away. If the lightning sacrificial formation was activated, everything within a radius of 200 li would be blasted into ruins by the heavenly lightning. Old song. This item is used to deal with the demon tide. Don't use it recklessly. The beautiful woman's expression changed immediately when she saw the old scholar activating the formation plate. It's all right. This formation has already been completed. There won't be any mistakes. It's impossible for the formation plate to be damaged. I just need to use it a little to intimidate this man. The revered elders will certainly not blame me. The only pity is that all the cultivators in Yuanjua Valley who are below the Gold Core realm will die in this lightning formation. However, there are countless harmonious spirit and vein opening realm cultivators in the Rain Immortal world. At this moment, there was only Ning Fan in the old scholar's eyes. All of this was because the pressure that Ning Fan gave him was too great. At this moment, a cold light flashed across the giant's eyes. Ancient lightning sacrificial formation. Legend has it that this formation contains the lost divine ability of the ancient fiend gods, lightning sacrificial technique. No one knew the exact details. This formation was divided into 7 groups. 1 was the spirit realm, 7 was the core realm, 49 was the nascent realm, 343 was the extreme transformation realm, 2401 was the mortal void realm and 16807 was the immortal void realm. Hopefully, the higher the level, the harder it would be to set up the formation. The old scholar used 49 formations to attack the enemy. His Tao of formation was extraordinary. However, his character was too cold. Once this formation was activated, 200 li of land would be flooded by the Sea of Lightning. Many of the disciples in Yuanjua Valley might not be able to escape from the lightning. The life and death of Yuanjua Valley had nothing to do with Ning Fan. However, he had obtained the immortal jade from the valley. Hence, he had formed a karmic connection with the valley. You've crossed the line. The giant's eyes revealed a cold light. The lightning star on his glabella kept flashing. His voice was like the rumbling of thunder. Above the clear sky, there was a thunderstorm. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. In the sky full of lightning, the old scholar's lightning sacrificial formation might be profound, but its lightning power was insignificant. When his eyes fell on the silver star on Ning Fan's glabella, his heart skipped a beat. Divine star. You have the immemorial divine vein. Get lost. The giant roared angrily. His voice seemed to have merged with the heavenly thunder. That voice suddenly produced a special meaning. It was like a thunderstorm, exploding in the hearts of the old scholar, the beautiful woman and all the cultivators who were watching. It was like the great ability of the ancient cultivators, the word law. Under the roar, the lightning sacrificial formation was broken. The 49 silver formation plates were broken. As for the old scholar, his mind was connected to the formation plates. Once the formation plates were broken, he was immediately injured and coughed out blood. He wouldn't be able to recover his cultivation realm without tens of years of hard cultivation. Get lost. Under the might of the heavenly might, the old scholar felt a sense of inferiority in front of a spirit-severing old monster. His body began to tremble uncontrollably. Ning Fan asked him to get lost. He asked a dignified nascent soul realm old scholar to get lost. However, the old scholar suddenly had an illusion that if he didn't get lost today, he would definitely die here. When the old scholar saw Ning Fan taking out a blood-red jade slip, that feeling was magnified in his heart. The jade slip emitted a raging killing intent. That killing intent was enough to tear the old scholar into pieces. Fellow Taoist Zhou Ming, please show mercy. This old man will get lost right now. Fellow Taoist Lu, let's go. Let's go. At this moment, the old scholar no longer had the arrogance he had before. The only thought in his mind was to leave as soon as possible. No matter what Zhou Ming's identity was or what he did in Wei country, it was no longer related to him. In fact, he didn't want to have anything to do with Zhou Ming for the rest of his life. There was no other reason. In the old scholar's eyes, Zhou Ming was simply unfathomable. In his heart, he had a guess about Zhou Ming's identity. Although it was wrong and biased, this guess made him unable to resist Zhou Ming even though he was a divine messenger of the Rain Palace. Under the disbelieving eyes of all the cultivators, the two divine messengers of the Rain Palace fled in a hurry. As for Zhou Ming of Wei country, even ordinary nascent soul realm cultivators wouldn't dare to look down on him after this battle. The two rays of traveling light fled desperately. A few days later, when they were tens of thousands of li away from Yuanjua Valley, the old scholar heaved a sigh of relief and slowed down his traveling light. Old song, are we just going to leave like this? On the peak of the mountain, the beautiful woman recovered her magical power and asked. If we don't leave like this, are we going to stay in Yuanjua Valley and court death? Song Yi said in an unpleasant tone. Whenever he thought of Ning Fan's means, he still felt slightly afraid. Court death. Even though old Song was injured by Zhou Ming and suffered a slight loss, it shouldn't be enough to kill you. We are nascent soul realm cultivators and we have countless life-saving methods. Even if our physical bodies are destroyed, our nascent soul realm cultivators can still escape. No matter how strong that Zhou Ming is, he might not have the ability to kill us. Moreover, we are the divine messengers of the Rain Palace. Even if he could kill us, he wouldn't dare to. The beautiful woman said disapprovingly. She knew that she wasn't Ning Fan's opponent, but her identity as a divine messenger of the Rain Palace made her feel that she was superior to Ning Fan. He can't be killed. The technique that I'm famous for, the Four Swords formation, was actually broken by a single sweep of his sword sense. I used the lightning offering formation to trap him, but he actually used the technique of controlling lightning to break the formation. In the end, if I'm not mistaken, the jade slip he took out contained the full force attack of a divine transformation realm cultivator. Not to mention me, even a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator would definitely die if he was hit by that attack. The old scholar still had lingering fear in his heart. Then, he spoke out the biggest mistake he had in his heart. If I'm not mistaken, this Zhou Ming might be the descendant of that lord. That lord also has the surname Zhou. Which lord? The beautiful woman felt slightly strange. He was born in the Rain Palace and died in the Endless Sea. Even the divine emperor was afraid of him. That person had the divine veins of lightning, condensed the divine stars of lightning, and was able to control lightning. His lightning offering technique was unparalleled among those of the same realm. He once fought to a draw with the 3 sovereigns of the Sword World with his own strength. Legend has it that he was the strongest void fragmentation expert in the Rain World 10,000 years ago. What? Old songs said that this person is the descendant of Thunder Emperor Buzhou. Shoo. Don't talk nonsense about this matter. I can't say it. In short, this matter has nothing to do with us. We are just insignificant divine messengers of the Rain Palace. We shouldn't get involved in this matter. Song Yi's heart was filled with lingering fear. He began to fear Ning Fan's means, strength, and even his identity. Ning Fan's identity was just a coincidence. Ning Fan changed his name to Zhou Ming. That Zhou was just a name that he picked up in the demon's sinister forest. It had nothing to do with the so-called Thunder Emperor Buzhou. However, Song Yi would probably not dare to see Ning Fan for the rest of his life. He was afraid. It was too scary. Chapter 164. Ning Fan quietly left Yuanjue Valley while the rumors were spreading. He did not kill the old scholar. Even if he used all his means, he would only be on par with the old scholar. If he wanted to kill the old scholar, he would have to sacrifice his blood essence or use the demon general's attack. Either way was not worth it. Killing the old scholar would anger the Rain Palace and bring unnecessary trouble to himself. It was enough to scare the old scholar away. There was no need to fight the old scholar to the death for such a trivial matter. The matter of Wei country had nothing to do with him anymore. 10 days later, he appeared at the desolate hill of the founding ancestor in the central region of Wei country. It was a peaceful mountain range with the shape of a dragon. It had a majestic aura and the terrain formed a formation, but the lines could not be seen clearly. Standing in the depths of the mountain range, Ning Fan pondered. The formation here had already merged with the heaven and earth, leaving no traces behind. Grade, mortal void. There was a formation here that was set up by the founding ancestor before his death. Under the formation, the earth vein was connected and became the place where he passed away. Ning Fan did not spend too much effort to find the entrance of the earth vein. On top of a dragon-shaped hill, there was a dangerous crack that led directly to the earth vein. There were a few cultivators of Wei country who came here to search for treasures and train. These cultivators could not enter the depths of the earth vein, but the spiritual herbs and spirit ores that they occasionally found were enough to excite them. The spiritual herbs and spirit ores produced here were all of good quality and contained Buddha light. Outside the entrance, there were cultivators who were gathering their companions to search for fortunes. Those who gathered their companions were mostly rogue cultivators. Cultivators from sects usually traveled together without the need to form a team. Ning Fan looked at the entrance of the earth vein and had no interest in forming a team. He had been delayed in Wei country for too long. It was better to take away the founding ancestor's relic as soon as possible. He closed his eyes and sensed the general situation of the mountain range. His spirit sense went into the ground. There were countless karst caves and canyons in the depths of the ground. They were intertwined with each other and filled with dense fog. A slight carelessness would cause one to get lost. The cultivators who died in the earth vein over the years had turned into ghosts. Coupled with the native demonic beasts, the earth vein was quite dangerous. This was only the first level. There was a path leading to the second level from the first level. The path was more intertwined and narrow. There were only a few harmonious spirit realm cultivators searching for treasures in the cave. There were a few gold core realm cultivators in the third level. They did not seem to be searching for treasures, but they used the founding ancestor's aura to cultivate their body. When Ning Fan's spirit sense swept across, all the old monsters felt a chill on their backs. They did not know why and only felt strange. There was no one on the fourth floor. With Ning Fan's spirit sense, he could only send it into a small area of the fourth floor. He could not go any deeper than that. The fifth level was even more mysterious. The founding ancestor of Wei was at the peak divine transformation realm. When he was still alive, he dominated the Rain world and established the Wei country. After his death, he laid in eternal rest in this place. Such a cultivator should have left behind a powerful inheritance. Wei ancestor, he thought. He walked Fan's Feng Qi Long sect cultivators ancestors ancestor Fan's Feng Feng scholar path. Scholar. Her words. Fan, he said. To Fan, the scholar the Ning Ling Ning. He Fan. Ning with the Yang. Ning Fan's sect, with the with. With Fan, sect Fan's the scholar. She was afraid of strangers, and Ning Fan's handsome face made this inexperienced girl a little shy. What is it? Ning Fan asked. Do you want to team up with us to search for treasures in the first level? Her tone was cautious. She had a delicate face and fair skin. She was a fourth-level vein-opening cultivator. Her eyes were pure and immature. It was obvious that she had just entered the cultivation world. Her immaturity made people feel pity for her. In addition to her beauty, many young masters would take good care of her. But to Ning Fan, she was just an ordinary girl. He would not spend time with her. Sorry, I like to travel alone, but the first level of the earth vein is very dangerous. The scholar hurriedly said. But Ning Fan did not seem to hear her. He walked further and further away until his figure disappeared into the earth vein. Being rejected by Ning Fan, the scholar bit her lips. She was slightly annoyed. Behind her, a urging voice came. Wen Qing, did you find anyone? If we can't gather 10 people, we will give up on this treasure hunt. Big brother Zhang, wait a little longer. I will look for more people. There must be someone who is willing to team up with us. Without 10 people, vein-opening realm cultivators would enter a dangerous place, and the danger would be unpredictable. But if she did not enter this place to search for treasures, she would regret it for the rest of her life. She was a rogue cultivator. She only had her little sister to rely on. Her little sister was suffering from fire poison. If she wanted to cure it, she would need the crystal of some kind of ghost beast in the first level of the desolate hill. She was timid and afraid of death, but in order to save her little sister, she had to risk it even if it meant entering this dangerous place. All of this was her fate. It had nothing to do with Ning Fan. In the earth vein, Ning Fan was riding on an icy light. While he was speeding forward, he used his sword energy to cut down the ghosts that blocked his way. These ghosts' souls would occasionally condense into some crystals. These crystals were cold and gloomy. If consumed, it could increase the power of one's spirit sense, but it was minuscule. 100 crystals were not as good as sense beads, but if it was used as medicine, it would have some use. The first level had 10-year-old spirit herbs. He did not care about them and directly entered the second level. In the second level, there were a few harmonious spirit cultivators. When they saw Ning Fan's icy light, their expressions immediately changed and they hurriedly avoided him. Ning Fan had no interest in these harmonious spirit cultivators. He was even less interested in the 100-year-old spirit herbs, demonic beasts and ghosts. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, he stopped at the end of the second level and looked at the formation light in front of him. The formation light in front of him was worthy of being called a mortal void formation. It was truly mysterious. There was a trace of power in it that seemed to be able to recognize the chi of the Wei country's sect master. Without the token, only gold core cultivators could enter. With the token, the power of the formation light would be reduced by half. Ning Fan carefully examined the sect master medallion and discovered that this medallion was actually made from a type of rare jade ore, and he could only see some of this jade ore on the fourth floor. It seemed to be a type of rare spirit ore that only Wei country could produce. He reached out his hand and pressed it on the light barrier, but he was unable to enter. A half-step gold core cultivator was not enough to enter the third level. But with the token, the formation light immediately shrunk by half, allowing him to pass. After keeping the token, he was once again unable to pass. He closed his eyes and remained silent. The demonic force in his body circulated and his aura rose. When his magical force and demonic force fused together, his magical force was no weaker than an early gold core cultivator. This was the benefit of cultivating demonic force. With one step, he entered the formation light without any obstruction. There were a few gold core cultivators meditating on the third level. They had been meditating for tens of years without caring about worldly affairs. Naturally, they did not recognize Ning Fan, the person who had stirred up chaos in Wei country. Sensing that someone had entered, the gold core old monsters immediately raised their eyebrows. But after sensing that this person was only an early gold core cultivator, they immediately lost interest. A mere early gold core cultivator coming to the third level to cultivate. Don't you think it's too dangerous? If these gold core cultivators knew that they were mocking old ancestor Zhou Ming who had swept across Wei country, how frightened would they be? Ning Fan was not interested in these gold core cultivators. The gold core demonic ghosts in this place already had their own intelligence. When they sensed Ning Fan's arrival, they immediately avoided him. The instincts of these demonic ghosts were sharper than cultivators. They could faintly sense how terrifying Ning Fan was. Along the way, there were occasionally hundreds of years' worth of spiritual herbs. After Ning Fan selected them, he kept them all. After half an hour, he stopped at the junction of the third and fourth levels. His gaze turned solemn for the first time since he entered this place. The formation light of the fourth level was glowing with a pale golden radiance. There were indistinct Sanskrit flowing on it. Even with Ning Fan's cultivation base and the sect master token of Yuanjua Valley, he still could not enter the fourth level. He hesitated for a moment and closed his eyes. When he opened them again, layers of black sword scents surrounded his body. His eyes were cold and his black hair was dancing wildly. Break! His sword intent surged, and after a loud explosion, the formation light shattered and healed. He then stepped into the fourth layer. At this moment, the expressions of the gold core cultivators who mocked Ning Fan changed drastically. That bang was undoubtedly the sign of entering the fourth level. Could this person be a nascent soul cultivator? The fourth level had thousand-year-old spiritual herbs and precious spiritual ores. There were no demons or ghosts in it. However, Ning Fan was still cautious with every step he took, ready to deal with any unknown situation. A few obscure yet powerful qi secretly approached Ning Fan. Each of them was filled with killing intent. These qi were mid-nascent soul realm, late nascent soul realm and even nascent soul realm. All of them were the demons and ghosts in this place. Along the way, there were some nascent soul realm cultivators who died here. Their corpses were already cold and their storage pouches were taken by Ning Fan. When these nascent soul realm ghosts' spirit sense swept towards him, Ning Fan immediately patted his storage pouch and took out a blood-red jade slip. It contained a spirit-severing realm attack. The blood-red brutal killing intent spread from it, causing the obscure spirit sense to immediately withdraw. After a moment of hesitation, they dispelled their killing intent towards Ning Fan. This human is not to be trifled with. A gloomy and hoarse voice said. There were many forks in the fourth level and many dangerous places. There were also 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs, but they were all guarded by powerful demons. After some consideration, Ning Fan had no choice but to give up on the idea of taking the herbs. With his cultivation base, it was possible for him to borrow the power of the demon general to strike fear into the demons. However, it was impossible for him to kill all the demons. He tried to take the shortest path and walked towards the end of the 4th level with full vigilance. If there was any demon that didn't know what was good for them, he would immediately activate the spirit-severing realm attack. Occasionally, there were also 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs, but the guarding demons were only early nascent soul realm. After a moment of contemplation, Ning Fan used his silver bone body and summoned the black corpse to snatch the spiritual herbs. 2 nascent soul realm experts made some early nascent soul realm demons fearful and helpless, causing them to give up guarding the spiritual herbs. In this way, Ning Fan managed to obtain a few types of medicinal ingredients for concocting 5th revolution pills. A few hours had passed when he reached the junction of the 4th and 5th level. The formation light in front of him was pure gold. The sound of Sanskrit was incessant and it carried the power to destroy evil. No nascent soul realm demons or ghosts dared to approach this formation light. Even Ning Fan felt a trace of pressure from the formation light because he cultivated demonic techniques. It was a very strong mortal void realm formation light. Within it, there was a peak spirit severing realm cultivator's divine intent. That divine intent belonged to the Zen sect. Although it was called Zen intent, it wasn't merciful. Instead, it carried a purple killing intent that combined the founding ancestor of Wei's lifetime of killing. When Ning Fan approached it, the formation light immediately stirred up waves like a drop of water falling into boiling oil. Layers of purple light turned into purple golden 10,000 words incantation and shot out from the formation light. The 10,000 words incantation rotated in the air. Each rotation caused the void to shatter, a mortal void realm grand formation with the killing intent of a peak spirit severing realm cultivator. Even an ordinary early void refinement realm cultivator wouldn't be able to resist this formation light. The power of the spirit severing realm jade slip in his hand was also inferior to the formation light. It would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens for a spirit severing realm cultivator to break this grand formation. When the 10,000 words incantation arrived in front of him, Ning Fan immediately felt a chill down his spine. He gritted his teeth and sighed inwardly. I'm afraid that I won't be able to enter this relic by myself. It's no wonder that if this relic was easy to enter, it would have been crowded by spirit-severing realm cultivators. As for mid-void refinement realm cultivators, they probably wouldn't bother to break the formation painstakingly just to obtain the inheritance of a spirit-severing realm cultivator. Before entering the 4th floor, the Rain World's cultivators must have already broken the threshold. However, I'm afraid that no one has entered the 5th floor yet. Although the treasures are good, it's not worth it if I have to waste my life for them. He seemed to have sensed something. He activated the primordial force of heaven and earth around his body and was about to teleport away from the formation light. However, at this moment, something strange happened. The Eastern Ocean bell in his storage pouch that had been silent for a long time rang faintly. As for the 10,000 words incantation, it was as if it had met its greatest enemy. It slightly trembled and immediately shattered under the ringing of the bell. As for the formation light, it seemed as if it was afraid of it. It opened up a gap that allowed a person to pass through. Strange, extremely strange. The Eastern Ocean bell is only a supreme-grade magical treasure, but it could shatter the mortal void formation light that even a void refinement realm cultivator would find difficult to deal with. However, this wasn't the time to be puzzled. Before the formation light closed up, Ning Fan immediately jumped into the formation light. The formation light closed up. For the first time, the storage of the founding ancestor of Wei, which had been silent for tens of thousands of years, had a new owner. The 5th floor wasn't big. There were no demons or ghosts either. It was just dozens of connected stone rooms that were carved with magical treasures. There were bedrooms, pill rooms and cultivation rooms. Countless years ago, there was a peak spirit severing old ancestor who cultivated in this place and passed away in meditation. A thick layer of ashes had accumulated on the ground. It was hard to imagine how long this place had been empty for. The magical treasures on the shelves were at least of the supreme grade. However, all of them had lost their spirituality due to the passage of time, which made Ning Fan feel pity. As for the pill room, there were many fourth revolution pills on the shelves. However, the jade bottles had turned yellow and the pills inside had turned into piles of black powder. This kind of thing happened frequently in the ancient ruins. Ning Fan wasn't surprised at all and didn't feel it was a pity. The magical treasures and pills that were placed outside were only of ordinary grade. If the founding ancestor of Wei wanted to pass down the real good items to his descendants, he would definitely keep them well. What Ning Fan was concerned about were the murals and carvings on the walls of each stone room. The stone walls here were the best material for making sword-testing stones for void refinement cultivators. They were terrifyingly hard. However, the carvings on the walls seemed to be carved by fingers. There were fingerprints on each word. The person who carved the words was undoubtedly the founding ancestor of Wei. His body refinement realm was truly terrifying. These murals depicted Buddha and a golden world with blooming lotus flowers. The words were in Sanskrit. Fortunately, Ancient Chaos's memory allowed him to understand Sanskrit even though he didn't understand the demon language. Ning Fan realized that these Sanskrit words were recorded by the founding ancestor of Wei himself. Not only did it contain the experiences of an expert, but it also contained the inheritances of several cultivation techniques of this expert. Spirit Severing Realm Body Refinement Technique, Prajna Art. High-grade Spirit Severing Realm Body Refinement Technique, Little Thousand Leaves Hands. High-grade Spirit Severing Realm Body Refinement Technique, Ming Wang Golden Body. Apart from that, Ning Fan was slightly surprised that the founding ancestor of Wei was also a spirit augmentation master. His spirit augmentation master had reached the spirit severing realm, which allowed him to forge profound earth spirit equipment and spirit augmentation for spiritual treasures that were above magical treasures. The spirit augmentation technique passed down by the founding ancestor of Wei was called Enlightening Technique. It was a unique spirit augmentation technique for Buddhist disciples. There were also monks in the mortal world who enlightened the enlightening technique for profit, but those were all deceit. The true enlightening technique was profound and profound. Even with Ning Fan's intelligence, he could only understand a small part of it. He couldn't learn this technique, but he didn't want to waste it. He carefully imprinted it on a jade slip. After pondering for a while, he imprinted the murals on the jade slip. Outside the last stone room, he stopped. This stone chamber gave Ning Fan an extremely heavy feeling. There was a powerful divine intent that didn't disperse but was unwilling to give up. Through the stone door, Ning Fan found out that there was a place for death. There was an empty praying mat with a tattered Taoist robe scattered on it. Beside the Taoist robe was a black storage pouch. Apart from that, there was a pool of blood that looked like boiling magma in the stone chamber. Ning Fan's eyes suddenly froze when he saw this pool of blood. That was because the blood pool contained an extremely precious body-tempering treasure, burning blood. A drop of burning blood was worth 1,000 immortal jades. This pool of burning blood was priceless. Burning blood was a necessary item for Colossal Bone's secret art to break through to the third level. Burning blood was also a necessary item for many body refinement techniques to break through to higher levels. No wonder the founding ancestor of Wei was so powerful. He had obtained a pool of burning blood by chance when he was alive. If a void refinement cultivator knew that the founding ancestor of Wei was lucky enough to obtain a pool of burning blood, how tempting would they be? They would disregard everything to break the mortal void formation and seize this pool of blood. However, there was no if in this world. They were not fated with this place, but Ning Fan was. Chapter 165. Ning Fan pushed the stone door open and the divine intent within it began to dissipate. The divine intent contained too much helplessness and unwillingness. It was most likely left behind by the founding ancestor when he passed away. However, because of the formation light, it had been passed down to this day and dissipated when the stone door was opened. Is this the sorrow of a peak spirit severing expert? Ning Fan stood in the divine intent for a long time. When the divine intent completely dissipated, he withdrew his gaze and started to collect the treasures. The pond of burning blood was kept in the cauldron ring and the storage pouch was picked up by Ning Fan. The storage pouch was sealed with the 10,000 words incantation. Ning Fan could break the 10,000 words incantation with the Eastern Ocean Bell, but he was concerned about why there was a seal in the storage pouch. Powerful cultivators would leave a spirit sense imprint on the storage pouch to prevent the storage pouch from being stolen by low-level cultivators. However, this imprint would dissipate along with the death of the cultivator. The seal in front of him was specially sealed with the power of the 10,000 words incantation in order to prevent it from dissipating after death. This room was left behind by the founding ancestor as a gift for his descendants. Otherwise, he wouldn't need to strengthen the stone room with the formation power to prevent the spirituality of the burning blood from dissipating and the storage pouch from turning into ashes. Leaving it for his descendants and planting a seal meant that the seal wasn't aimed at the cultivator who picked up the storage pouch but the item inside. With a thought, Ning Fan was startled. The storage pouch was slightly trembling. There was something inside. What's inside? Ning Fan scolded. Oh. A mere harmonious spirit cultivator actually discovered the existence of a rogue devil. Hee, quickly let me out. I've been trapped here for too long, too long. Rogue devil? Ning Fan was secretly shocked. The so-called rogue devil was a powerful devil at the 9th layer of the void fragmentation realm, similar to rogue immortals. Rogue immortals were those who failed the true immortal tribulation while rogue devils were those who failed the heavenly devil tribulation. Even though a rogue devil couldn't become a heavenly devil, its strength wouldn't be something that a 9th layer void fragmentation realm cultivator could resist. Rumor has it that when a rogue devil cultivates to the extreme, it would have a second chance to become a heavenly devil. To think that a rogue fiend would be sealed within the storage bag. However, if there really was a scattered demon sealed inside, it would have died long ago. The Wei founding ancestor's lifespan was long enough for the scattered demon to run out and die dozens of times. Then, this scattered demon shouldn't have formed when he sealed the storage bag. Most of the time it had gained sentience was within tens of thousands of years. The time it took to cultivate was probably close to 1,000 years. Only in this way could he not die. He didn't know what this scattered devil's true form was, but it was very likely that it was a seal that the Wei dynasty's founding ancestor had placed in his bag of holding. Over time, it had gradually gained sentience. If an artifact spirit dharma treasure was abandoned for too long, it could turn into a demon. A 5th revolution pill could turn into a pill devil by chance. Even corpses could become corpse demons. Let's not talk about the species of this devil for now. If this devil was really a loose devil, then why couldn't he escape the seal of a mere storage pouch? That was something worth discussing. Did this loose devil gain sentience on its own and mutate into a devil? Or was it the result of the Wei dynasty's founding ancestors' nurturing? Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He suddenly realized that the magical treasure in his dantian, the all-heaven relic, had a faint connection with the loose devil in the storage bag. Ning Fan's eyes flashed when he sensed the dense pill fragrance coming from the devil's body. In an instant, he had figured out all the mysteries. For the first time, he deeply admired the Wei dynasty's founding ancestor's amazing talent. The Wei dynasty's founding ancestor purposely nurtured a devil. Judging from the pill fragrance, this devil was actually a pill devil. The Wei dynasty's founding ancestor must have prepared a 5th revolution pill in advance and planted a devil-raising talisman in it. Just like the talisman in the body of the little pill devil Bright Sparrow that was destroyed by Ning Fan. The Wei dynasty's founding ancestor existed even longer than the mysterious true immortal who raised Bright Sparrow. It should be during the establishment of the Rain World. Before his death, he cared about the safety of the country of Wei, so he decided to raise a pill devil for his descendants. The devil-raising talisman that he left in the body of the pill devil was different from that of the mysterious true immortal. The mysterious true immortal nurtured the pills in the dark sparrow's grave and left a talisman that recognized the owner of the pill. He wanted to raise the little pill devil like Bright Sparrow as a pill. When the pill was completed, he would destroy the devil's soul in Bright Sparrow's body and obtain a 9th revolution or higher grade pill. However, the Wei dynasty's founding ancestor was different. He planted the devil-raising talisman, but there were some changes to it. The talisman had a disadvantage. Once the talisman was planted, the pill would become invalid. However, there was an advantage. After the talisman was planted, the pill devil would gain sentience and become a devil after tens of thousands of years. Whenever the devil's cultivation base improved, the power of the talisman would increase along with the devil's cultivation base. As a result, even if the devil became a loose devil or a heavenly devil, it would never be able to break the talisman with its own means. It could only become the devil pet of the devil cultivator, obeying the devil cultivator's orders and becoming a hired thug. The Wei dynasty's founding ancestor raised a loose devil by chance. When he finally managed to raise the devil, he couldn't control it and died tens of thousands of years before the devil gained sentience. It was feasible for a true immortal to raise a devil. However, for cultivators in the 7th realm who had yet to become immortals, it was like a mirage. In ancient times, many cultivators raised demons. However, those who could raise demons and successfully control them were at least perfected immortals. Here were the 3 major problems of raising a devil. First, the probability of raising a devil was too small. It was like killing a cultivator and obtaining the Tao fruit. It was purely a matter of luck. Some people succeeded after raising a devil. Some people might not even be able to become a devil after consuming 105th revolution pills. There were 3 factors that could influence a pill to become a devil. The first was the grade of the pill, the second was the terrain, and the third was the devil-raising array. It wasn't that the higher the grade of the pill, the higher the probability of becoming a devil. On the contrary, if the grade of the pill was too high, it wouldn't have any sentience and wouldn't be able to become a devil. If the grade of the pill was too low, it wouldn't have enough spirituality and wouldn't be able to become a devil. The 5th revolution was the best grade to raise a pill devil. As for the terrain, the hill of the founding ancestor was more prone to devils than the Dark Sparrow's grave. However, the Dark Sparrow's grave had a special use for the remains of the immemorial Dark Sparrow, which was chosen by the mysterious true immortal. As for the devil-raising array, the grand formation laid by the Wei dynasty's founding ancestor was at the mortal void realm, while the one in the Dark Sparrow's grave was at the immortal void realm, which was slightly better than the one here. The rate of forming a pill devil was low. Therefore, in order to raise a pill devil, one had to use a large number of 5th revolution pills. A true immortal could produce a large number of 5th revolution pills, but it wasn't easy for cultivators in the 7th realm. The second problem was that the time needed to raise a devil was too long. For example, for a pill devil, it would take tens of thousands of years to turn into a devil. A true immortal had an endless lifespan and could wait. Ordinary cultivators, even void fragmentation realm experts, could only live for tens of thousands of years. Before a pill devil could take shape, the devil cultivator would turn into a pile of soil and die. Even if that cultivator succeeded in becoming an immortal during the hundreds of thousands of years that he had been waiting for the devil head to take shape, the devil head that he raised had just become a devil. If he started cultivating now, it would take tens of thousands of years before he could reach the void fragmentation realm. Without a void fragmentation realm devil, what was the use of a true immortal? The third problem was the devil-raising talisman itself. Some ancient cultivators had yet to become immortals, but they also raised devils for their descendants to use after hundreds of thousands of years. With the help of the talisman, the devil cultivator could only control a devil that was one realm higher than his or her own. If a void fragmentation realm expert raised a rogue devil, his or her descendants could control the devil with their void refinement realm cultivation base to protect the clan from decline. However, the talisman would gradually weaken with the passage of time, and its control over the devil would become weaker and weaker. However, the strength of the devil would become stronger and stronger as time passed. In ancient times, many cultivators raised devil protectors. However, when the talisman weakened and the clan head's cultivation base wasn't strong enough to control the devil would break free from the talisman and counterattack, destroying the entire Shio clan. To a certain extent, raising a devil had its own risks. You would never know when the devil would break free from the talisman, and you wouldn't be able to grasp when to eliminate the devil before the talisman weakened to prevent future troubles. Only true immortals could completely ignore the three problems. Those who raised devils were usually true immortals. On the other hand, when a true immortal raised a devil, the cultivation time of the devil wouldn't be as long as the true immortal, and its strength would be far weaker than the true immortal. As such, a devil wouldn't be useful in a battle between true immortals. Usually, thousands of devils would be raised to form a battle guard to hurt a true immortal of the same realm. This was all that Ning Fan had learned from the memories he had gathered. However, the devil-raising talisman that was arranged by the founding ancestor of Wei made him understand what it meant to be a genius. The founding ancestor of Wei was an outstanding man, a man who was more outstanding than countless true immortals. The devil-raising talisman that was modified by him completely eliminated the drawback of the talisman weakening. This was because the talisman was connected to the relic in his body by the founding ancestor. As long as the relic wasn't destroyed, the rogue devil would never be able to break the talisman with its own strength. Moreover, the rogue devil wouldn't be able to break the talisman that was set up with the power of the relic. If it dared to resist, it would be devoured by the talisman and die for sure. Perhaps the reason why the founding ancestor raised the devil was because he predicted that Ning Fan would become a true immortal one day. It was also possible that the founding ancestor kept the devil because he knew that Ning Fan wouldn't be leaving this world for long. No matter what the reason was, the founding ancestor was able to come up with the relic-controlling talisman to keep a rogue devil for the future generations of Wei. In terms of intelligence, many true immortals couldn't compare to him. There was nothing strange about this. If the founding ancestor had broken through the bottleneck of the peak spirit severing realm and become a void refinement realm cultivator, he might have already become a true immortal. His intelligence wasn't weak, but it was hard to defy the heaven's will. The heaven's will was destined for such a talented man to die at the bottleneck of the peak spirit severing realm. That was why the Wei founding ancestor was so unwilling to accept it in the secret chamber where he died. He was unwilling. With his talent, he would definitely be an influential figure if he could become an immortal. Unfortunately, the heaven's will was too heartless. Ning Fan sighed slightly. This was the reality of the cultivation world. It didn't mean that one could become an immortal with great talent. There was also the existence of opportunity. Wasn't it the same in the mortal world? It didn't mean that one could become famous with great talent. Among them, there was a hidden existence. The heaven's will didn't allow the founding ancestor to break through to the void refinement realm, but it allowed him to successfully raise a devil. It allowed him to leave a rogue devil for Wei country. However, the founding ancestor probably didn't expect that after his death, Wei country would decline to become a low-grade cultivation country. There was no spirit-severing realm cultivator in the country who could break the formation light of the founding ancestor's desolate hill and obtain the inheritance. He also didn't expect that the devil he raised had become a rogue devil after countless years. Even if one obtained the All-Heaven relic and could control the rogue devil, one would need to have at least early void refinement realm magic power. What he didn't expect was that the one who broke his formation light and obtained the pill devil was a foreign cultivator. Somehow, the All-Heaven relic was discovered by a novice monk and fell into the hands of Hou Yen. Then, it was fought over by the demon race and eventually fell into Ning Fan's hands. The fourth layer of formation light of the founding ancestor's desolate hill was broken because Ning Fan had the Eastern Ocean Bell. In the end, not only did Ning Fan obtain the relic, but he also obtained the storage pouch that contained the pill devil. The founding ancestor didn't leave behind any magical treasures but a rogue devil that could overturn the structure of the 9 worlds. This rogue devil was ranked top 30 among the experts of the 9 worlds. It wouldn't be difficult for it to kill Moksha Sovereign. In order to control this devil with the All-Heaven relic, I only need to reach early void refinement realm in 100 years. In other words, as long as my magic power reaches early void refinement realm, I can use this devil to dominate the 9 worlds and kill Moksha sovereign to avenge my master. Ning Fan's eyes shone brightly. Void fragmentation realm in 100 years was difficult. Was it difficult to reach void refinement realm in 100 years? He didn't even need to reach early void refinement realm. He was afraid that when he reached peak spirit severing realm, he would have the strength comparable to a void refinement realm cultivator. Then, he would be able to control this devil and fight against Moksha sovereign. Peak spirit severing realm in 100 years. This goal was more realistic than void fragmentation realm, and Ning Fan was confident that he could achieve it. He closed his eyes and calmed his mind. To him, this opportunity for revenge was far more important than dominating the 9 worlds. This opportunity was given to him by the brilliant founding ancestor of Wei. This devil-raising talisman was unprecedented. There were countless Zen cultivators in the world, but how many of them could come up with a talisman that could control a devil with a relic? Just like in the demon race, there were only 500 ancient demons who could comprehend and simplify the complicated demonic techniques and create spirit realm demonic techniques in the long river of time. In the storage pouch, the rogue devil sneered and threatened Ning Fan with his strong cultivation base. Hee hee. Little cultivator, this rogue devil advises you to let me go as soon as possible. Otherwise, when this old man's talisman dissipates and I break the seal, you will be the first to die. Oh. Is that so? Now, I have a bad news for you. Your talisman will never dissipate because the relic that controls it is in my hands. Just stay in the storage pouch obediently and wait for the day I break through to the peak spirit severing realm. Then, you will become my devil. Ning Fan activated the All-Heaven relic with all his might. Immediately, the rogue devil began to wail in agony under the tug of the relic. Ning Fan's magic power was far from enough to control and kill this devil with the talisman. However, he could still make it suffer. At this moment, the rogue devil was stunned and panicked. He started to cry and curse. Impossible. This is impossible. How can my talisman be controlled by you? Arg! I will kill you. I will kill you. The rogue devil thought that the talisman would dissipate soon after tens of thousands of years of cultivation. He never thought that the talisman would not dissipate at all unless the relic was destroyed. At this moment, he was afraid that if Ning Fan really had enough magic power to control him, he would no longer be free, a dignified rogue devil, an invincible existence among the void fragmentation realm, was raised as a devil pet by a brat. Damn it! Damn it! However, no matter how he cursed, Ning Fan would not let this devil go. Raising a devil had nothing to do with good or evil. This devil and Bright Sparrow were both pill devils. However, their meanings to Ning Fan were different. The former was just a hired thug while the latter was a little girl that he had a good impression of. She was someone close to him. He was angry at the true immortal who raised Bright Sparrow, but he was grateful to the founding ancestor who raised the rogue devil. Ning Fan threw the storage pouch that contained the rogue devil into the most secretive red misty space in the cauldron ring. He looked at the cattail hassock where the founding ancestor of Wei had passed away, the robe that was left behind and the ashes on the ground. It was Wei's founding ancestor who gave Ning Fan the chance to kill Moksha sovereign. He kept the robe, ashes and futon that were left behind by the founding ancestor and buried them in the stone chamber. Suddenly, he recalled the wordless heavenly book. He did not engrave the founding ancestor's name on the tombstone but left 4 words. Sending the sovereign to death. The name was too ordinary, but the person who was buried was a genius that shocked the world. Engraving a name that was forgotten by others would only make others look down on the person in the tomb. This was the profound meaning of sending the sovereign to death. Ning Fan did not know that his current state of mind was exactly the same as the expert who wrote these 4 words. That year, the immortal sovereign wore a purple robe and buried his good friend who no one knew his name. Because no one knew his good friend's life, it was meaningless to write his name on the tomb. He only wrote 4 words. Sending the sovereign to death. The words were so domineering that the immortals and Buddhas were shocked. It let people know that these words were written by the immortal sovereign for his good friend's funeral. He did not need people to know the name of the person who was buried. He only needed to let people know that the person who was buried was once a genius that shocked the world. He was just teased and rejected by fate, but no one knew about it. Today, these 4 words reappeared on the tombstone after countless generations. The founding ancestor's name was not engraved on the tombstone, but it was engraved in the heart of the person who wrote it. Ning Fan decided to engrave this karma in his heart. In return, he would fulfill the last wish of the founding ancestor, to protect the peace of Wei country while he was still alive. Ning Fan's state of mind was filled with battle intent. For the first time, he saw the hope of defeating Moksha sovereign. As long as he reached the peak spirit severing realm. Chapter 166. After a long time, Ning Fan cupped his fists at the grave and left without looking back. Divine Transformation Realm Body Refining Technique, Burning Blood, All Heaven Relic. Most importantly, he had obtained a rogue devil. Before this, he hated Moksha Emperor but he was always doubtful whether he could win against him. But now, he was very confident that he could shock Moksha Emperor, the Rain World and the 9 Worlds 100 years later. The biggest worry in his heart was finally shattered. He left the 5th floor with the help of the Eastern Ocean Bell. After entering the 4th floor, he immediately teleported to the 3rd floor to avoid being ambushed by the evil beings. He had to be careful now that he had a supreme treasure with him. After all, there must be many evil beings that noticed him after he broke the formation light of the 5th floor. As expected, the moment he appeared, there were immediately several hidden attacks sneaking towards him. If it wasn't for Ning Fan's instant teleportation, he would have been severely injured even if he didn't die. After teleporting for a short distance, Ning Fan took out the Eastern Ocean Bell from his storage pouch without hesitation. The lightning heart on his glabella flickered as he activated the ice-shattering fist and punched the bell heavily. This treasure was extraordinary. It could withstand the void force of the teleportation formation and shatter the Buddha force of the mortal void grand formation. Although it was a supreme-grade magical treasure, it was highly possible that it was an imitation of a powerful immortal treasure. The fusion of his magic power and demonic power had reached the early gold core realm. In addition to the ice-shattering fist, the Eastern Ocean Bell immediately let out a deep and powerful golden halo that dispersed in all directions. With Ning Fan's power, he had at least activated 30% of the supreme-grade magical treasure's power. This power was not enough to hurt a nascent soul realm cultivator. However, the sound wave seemed to have the power to look down on heaven and earth. As soon as it appeared, the demonic ghosts' hearts trembled and their bodies were frozen by the golden halo. Body freeze. It was a group technique. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with surprise. This was the first time he used all of his strength to activate a trace of the Eastern Ocean Bell's power. The power of the body freeze was too weak. It only lasted for half a breath before the nascent soul realm demonic ghosts broke free. Even so, the demonic ghosts were still filled with lingering fear. That was especially true of the demonic beasts, who could sense an awe-inspiring pressure emanating from the sound waves. During this time, Ning Fan teleported a few more times consecutively, using all of his magic power to flee. In just a few breaths' time, he had already traveled 1,000 li underground and arrived at the entrance of the 3rd floor. As for the demonic ghosts, after a moment of hesitation, they gave up. It's hard to chase after him and I don't dare to chase after him. The sound of the bell is irresistible and majestic. Furthermore, this person has a spirit-severing attack in his hand, this kid has hidden himself very well. These hoarse voices sounded out. After that, the fourth level of the desolate hill once again returned to silence. Every cultivation country once had an ancestor. However, among the 800 old ancestors of the rain world, Ancestor Wei's wisdom was definitely one of the best. Along with Ning Fan's departure, this place would once again return to silence. No one would know what kind of crazy things the Wei ancestor had done before he died. Soul formation cultivators were unable to break through the array light and enter the fifth floor. A void refinement cultivator would not go through the trouble of obtaining a mere deity transformation realm inheritance. This place would remain silent for a very, very long time. The tolling of the eastern sea bell came from the fourth layer, and it shook the entire area. The entire desolate hill's earth vein trembled violently, but it soon returned to normal. In the first level of the earth vein, a yellow-robed girl was staggering. She held on to the slippery stone wall and climbed up from the ground. That tremble just now had caused her to fall due to her depleted magical power. There were many scars on her body and her magical power was almost depleted. However, her expression was firm. "Sister, I will definitely find the ghost crystal and cure your poison." She carefully walked through the first level. It was extremely dangerous to be alone in the fourth level vein opening realm. Initially, she wanted to form a team with other rogue cultivators, but in the end, there were less than 10 of them. Moreover, a few rogue cultivators had left, causing the team to disband. However, even if she was alone, she still wanted to find the ghost crystal. Her intention was precious, but her actions were too reckless. In the dark, a few ghostly auras approached. It was obvious that they had discovered a delicious food. The girl was completely unaware of all these. When the ghostly auras appeared, her delicate body shivered and her pretty face was filled with fear. The low-grade magical treasure in her hand was struck away by the ghostly auras. Jia jia. Jia jia, the ghostly auras let out miserable cries. The chilly wind rolled, wanting to tear the girl into pieces. At this moment, even if the girl was young and ignorant, she understood that she was afraid that she would die today. She closed her eyes in despair. There was fear and regret. "Sister," under her eyelashes, the pear blossom was dripping with rain. But before the chilly wind tore her apart, the ghostly auras that attacked her seemed to be frozen in place. The ghostly faces were filled with fear. In the next moment, without any warning, there was a flash of ink, and these ghosts were easily erased. The black and smelly ghost blood splattered on the young girl's face, causing her to open her eyes in disbelief. However, the feeling that came even faster than shock was actually nausea, rotten flesh, black blood, and a fishy smell. Her stomach turned sour. She immediately held onto the stone wall and vomited. A cool breeze swept past, and the fishy smell immediately dissipated. The girl gradually raised her head, but her face was still pale. But she suddenly found out that in front of her, there was an indifferent young man in white robe and black cloak. Her face immediately showed fear. How could she not know that these ghostly auras were killed by this young man? To be able to kill so many ghostly auras without being noticed, this young man was a 10th level vein opening expert. Could he be a harmonious spirit old monster? The girl immediately took a step back and covered her chest. She was slightly nervous, but when she looked carefully at the young man's face, she suddenly remembered that this young man was the one she invited to team up with outside the earth vein, but was rejected. So the person that I invited is actually such a powerful cultivator. This cultivator, what does he want to do to me? He saved me for no reason. Could it be that he wants to use me as a cauldron? Once she thought of the word cauldron, the girl's body trembled helplessly. Thank you, Senior, for saving my life. What does Senior want to do to me? But to her surprise, the young man did not take a step closer. He only stood a distance away and spoke to the girl indifferently. This is not a place you should come to, I know, but I need ghost crystals to cure my sister's fire poison. The girl bit her lips with a gloomy expression. Sister. The young man's eyes moved. He patted his storage pouch and casually took out a handful of ghost crystals. There were vein-opening ghost crystals and harmonious spirit ghost crystals. But these? Yes, Yes. The girl's eyes were burning with passion. Take it. It's enough to cure the fire poison. Sell the rest of the ghost crystals for money and live a peaceful life. Don't step into the cultivation world for the rest of your life. This is not a place you should come to. The young man waved his sleeve and the pile of ghost crystals immediately flew into the girl's arms. Then, he disappeared in a flash. The girl was stunned by the number of ghost crystals. The speed of that light was countless times faster than the harmonious spirit old monsters that she had seen before. No matter how stupid she was, she knew that the person who saved her life and gave her these ghost crystals must be an old monster with profound cultivation base. He might even be the legendary gold core old ancestor. So this person didn't have any bad intentions towards me, the girl recalled the young man's words. Suddenly, she remembered something and shouted towards the direction of the cave. Thank you, Senior, for saving my life. My name is Wenqing. There was no reply. The girl carefully kept the ghost crystals and hurriedly left the earth vein. She wanted to cure her sister's poison and live a peaceful life. This was her destiny. Outside the earth vein, Ning Fan flew towards the northern region of Wei without looking back. He casually swallowed a few bitter pills and after recovering some of his magic power, he kept silent. He saved the girl because of his promise to the ancestor of Wei. He didn't like to cause trouble, but the girl was a cultivator of Wei. He had promised to protect the country for the ancestor of Wei. It was fine if he didn't meet her, but since he met her, he decided to help her. This was his repayment to the ancestor of Wei. As for giving the ghost crystals to the girl, it was because he saw the shadow of himself when he was young in the girl. At that time, Ninggu was sick. He ventured deep into the mountains to collect herbs and almost died. If it was possible, Ning Fan wished to live a peaceful life like a mortal without any worries. He couldn't do it. Once he stepped on this path, he couldn't back out. Therefore, he gave his wish and the ghost crystals to the girl. Wenqing. The most precious thing in this world isn't longevity or power, but warmth. For the sake of cultivation, I've spent so many years, but in the end, I'm the only one left. This is the loneliness of a cultivator. It's hard to find warmth in the cultivation world. I can only stand in front of the graves of my friends and family and feel sad. A streak of light flew straight to the north. A month later, they finally caught up to the 7-apricot voyage ship in the northern plains of the central region of Wei country and met up with them. 3 months later, the ship crossed the northern border of Yu country, and sailed into the Great Jin dynasty. However, the 7-apricot voyage ship was forced to land by the Jin country cultivators and was forbidden from entering. Beside the Lock world, there were many ships that stopped there. Passed down the order of the King of Jin. The land of the Great Jin is filled with chaos and demons are forbidden from entering. A golden core cultivator from Jin Nation who was wearing a wide-sleeved robe and a tall hat ordered coldly with the arrogance of a mid-level cultivation country. How could this be? We came to the Great Jin because we have urgent matters to attend to. We need to use the ancient teleportation formation. Some of the cultivators complained. Teleportation array. Sorry. The King of Jin has decreed that the teleportation array of the state of Jin will not accept immortal jades and will only accept battle merits. To use the teleportation array, there were 3 conditions. First, they had to have at least a golden core cultivation. The second was to join the cultivation guard. Thirdly, accumulate battle credits in exchange for a teleportation opportunity. The golden core of Jin Nation sneered and added. In addition, the King of Jin's order has been approved by the Rain Palace. What? The Rain Palace approved it? Doesn't that mean that if we want to enter the state of Jin and use the teleportation array, we have to take the risk to eliminate the demons for the state of Jin? How could this be? I heard that the demons of the state of Jin are very powerful. Even a nascent soul realm old monster died here. Each of the foreign golden core cultivators complained but they could only sigh because of the name of the Rain Palace. Some of them left while some of them had no choice but to accept the King of Jin's order and request to join the cultivation guard and kill the demons to accumulate battle credits. On the 7-apricot voyage ship, Ning Fan, Suqiu, and Jing Zhuo's eyes turned solemn. They didn't expect the demon tide of the state of Jin to be so troublesome that the King of Jin had to borrow the strength of the foreign cultivators. Could it be that even the intervention of the Rain Palace was not enough to save the situation? Perhaps it was because of the spirit-severing Demon General, Li Ban, Ning Fan muttered to himself. He must use the teleportation array of the state of Jin. Should he join the cultivation guard and help the state of Jin to eliminate the demons? While he was pondering, a long rainbow of a nascent soul realm cultivator flew towards the boundary. His spirit sense locked onto the 7-apricot voyage ship. Immediately, Ning Fan's expression turned solemn. That aura was very unfamiliar. It was filled with insolence and brutality. A mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. I don't know him. What is his intention? While Ning Fan was pondering, the spirit sense kept its brutality and turned into the elegant laughter of a young man. Chapter 167. This pill was a third revolution pill. Consuming it could increase the realm of the colossal bone's secret arts and the realm of body refinement. However, this pill had a flaw. After consuming it, not only would it cause unbearable pain, it would also cause one to fall into insanity. That insanity could only be appeased through slaughter. Ning Fan became cautious and tempted after knowing that he had to join the cultivator guard to use the teleportation formation in Great Jin. It was the best time to unleash the killing intent of the burning blood pill during the slaughter. However, what he was afraid of was the man who was rushing towards him. Mid-nascent soul realm. His intentions are unclear. Not long after the man called out Suqiu's name, he immediately turned into a light dot and flashed across the sky. After a few breaths, he had traveled a few hundred li and landed on the 7-apricot voyage ship. Ning Fan knew that he was not as fast as this teleportation speed. This young man looked to be around 25 or 26 years old, but his bone age was 700 years old. He was 100% old monster. He wore a silver robe and had a tall and straight demeanor. His eyes were sharp and carried a trace of inextinguishable madness. His name was Yunquang and he was a divine messenger of the Rain Palace. The appearance of this person immediately caused countless gold core realm old monsters to exclaim. It's him. Night Sword Yunquang. Forming a nascent soul in 500 years and breaking through to the mid-nascent soul realm in 200 years. This person is definitely one of the top 50 divine messengers of the Rain Palace in the southeastern continent. Night Sword. Rumor has it that Yunquang would carry out missions from the Rain Palace alone at night and would bring back the corpses of his pursuers in the morning. His name had been spread far and wide. Rumor has it that this person was arrogant by nature. After obtaining the divine intent stone of the Rain Palace, not only did he comprehend the false divine intent, he even fused a trace of his madness into it. This matter even made a revered elder of the Rain Palace in the southeastern continent pay great attention to him, who would have thought that such an expert would be sent to help Great Jin. The demon tide of Great Jin was quite extraordinary. Even the arrogant gold core realm experts of Great Jin lowered their heads and greeted him respectfully. Greetings, esteemed messenger. Dispense with the formalities. Yunquang waved his hand and stood on the 7-apricot voyage ship. He smiled leisurely at Suqiu. The appearance of this person made Ning Fan frown. A nascent soul cultivator who reached the nascent soul realm in 500 years and a mid-nascent soul realm in 700 years. Such a person could only be ranked in the top 50 divine envoys in the southeastern continent. This man was not ordinary. The Rain Palace's foundation was even more profound. On top of that, Yunquang had a hint of madness that had merged with his pseudo-divinity will, causing him to emit a domineering aura that could crush everything in his path. Yunquang's aura force avoided Yin Suqiu and landed on Jing Zhuo and Ning Fan without holding back. Jing Zhuo let out a muffled groan and his face flushed red. Even with his cultivation level half a step into nascent soul, he was unable to control himself under this pressure. Ning Fan, on the other hand, remained unmoved under the pressure. Not enough. The pressure of a mid-stage nascent soul cultivator was not enough to shake him. Yun Kuang was doubtful. He scanned Ning Fan with his spirit sense and found out that Ning Fan was only a half-step gold core cultivator. As for Jing Zhuo, since he was at the half-step nascent soul realm and was traveling with Yin Suqiu, he released his aura to slightly intimidate him. What he did not expect was that even a half-step nascent soul realm cultivator like Jing Zhuo could not withstand his aura. On the other hand, Ning Fan seemed to be unaffected by his aura. Ha! It seems like this little friend is quite lucky to have obtained some kind of magical treasure that can resist the aura. Forget it. Since you're Suqiu Xianzi's junior disciple, I won't fight for this treasure. Yun Kuang thought that Ning Fan was concealing his aura with the help of a magical treasure. He no longer looked at Ning Fan and turned to Suqiu. Suqiu Xianzi, I haven't seen you for 100 years. You're still as beautiful as ever. You really move my heart. In the past, I offered 1,000,000 immortal jades to exchange for a smile from you. However, I was rejected by you. Could it be that Suqiu Xianzi's heart is made of stone? However, I didn't expect to meet you in Jin country. It must be fate that brought us together. How about? I'm not fated with you. Suqiu frowned and distanced herself from Yun Kuang. However, she was very close to Ning Fan. She did not like this person's arrogance. She also did not like his behavior of recklessly releasing his aura. As for 100 years ago, this person used 1,000,000 immortal jades to exchange for a smile from her. This matter had become a legend in the southeast continent. However, Suqiu did not like it. In fact, she hated it. Compared to Yun Kuang, she admired Ning Fan more. Ning Fan's heart was very deep, like a deep pool of water that no one could see its bottom. It wasn't a pretense, but a silence that was filled with suffering. In the end, she wanted Ning Fan to have the same perseverance as her. In fact, his perseverance was even more difficult and heavy than hers. When she was in Wei country, Suqiu would ask the cultivators of Wei country about Ning Fan's news every day. A mysterious nascent soul realm cultivator who defeated a nascent soul realm female demon. Suqiu knew that it must be Ning Fan. She knew that Ning Fan did not like to be famous. Old ancestor Zhou Ming was in charge of Yuanjue country. He defeated the 7 sects and swept across Wei country. Suqiu guessed that the so-called old ancestor Zhou Ming must be Ning Fan. Killing people and robbing jade. Suqiu could not accept such actions. However, Suqiu knew that Ning Fan had his own reasons for doing so. He had his own perseverance, his Tao to uphold and his loved ones to protect. Because of this, even if he had a bad reputation, he would still treat it with a smile. Old ancestor Zhou Ming defeated 2 nascent soul realm cultivators of Rain Palace. This matter caused a huge commotion among the gold core realm cultivators of Wei country. When Suqiu knew about this, she was shocked and felt even more pity for him. He was just a harmonious spirit realm cultivator who had not even formed his gold core realm, but he liked to show off and fight against nascent soul realm cultivators. When Ning Fan returned, he thought that Suqiu would reprimand him for his evil deeds in Wei country. But in the end, Suqiu only played the flute for him and smiled leisurely at him at the end of the song. "You are a fool," Suqiu said. She finally realized that there was already a figure imprinted in her heart. However, she did not want to tell Ning Fan because the debt of love that Ning Fan carried was too heavy. There was no need for her to be troubled by it. When facing Yun Kuang, Yin Suqiu was indifferent instead of indifferent. In the past, even though she did not like Yun Kuang, she would still talk to him for a while considering that they were both on the righteous path. But now, Yun Kuang looked like a joke to her. Yun Kuang's aptitude might be higher than Ning Fan and his cultivation realm was much stronger than Ning Fan, but Suqiu firmly believed that Yun Kuang was not as good as Ning Fan. His Tao was not as good as Ning Fan. His heart was not as good as Ning Fan. Even the 1,000,000 immortal jades and the smile of 1,000 gold could not be compared to Ning Fan's bracelet and the warmth of his smile. This person was not as good as Ning Fan, even if he was a high and mighty mid-nascent soul realm divine messenger of the Rain Palace. At this moment, Yin Suqiu made an action that surprised Ning Fan and enraged Yun Kuang. She gently held Ning Fan's hand and looked at him with a beautiful smile. This smile seemed to have used up all the happiness she had in her 600 years of cultivation. This smile made many Gold Core realm old monsters who were probing with their spirit sense, including those who had a heart of stone, slightly tremble in amazement. A smile that could topple a city, another smile that could topple a country. Young Master Yun, I am not fated with you. I am only fated with him, I am fated with him, but we are not fated to be together. We can only hold each other's hands, but we can't grow old together. She did not say the last sentence out loud. It was hidden deep in her heart. After this trip to the Endless Sea, they might not be able to see each other again. If she doesn't hold his hand, she might miss him forever. Fellow Taoist Yin, you're obviously creating trouble for me. Ning Fan transmitted his voice to Yin Suqiu because she wanted to avoid Yun Kuang's entanglement. You can call me Suqiu, what? Nothing. You're right. I'm a troublesome woman, but I won't change, I won't, forget it. Since I owe you a favor, I'll help you settle Yun Kuang's trouble. Fortunately, Yun Kuang is a member of the Rain Palace. With the existence of the world law, he can't attack me because of his personal feelings. However, I'm afraid that he will secretly make things difficult for me during this trip to Great Jin. Ning Fan shook his head with a bitter smile. He was not afraid of Yun Kuang. Moreover, from the bottom of his heart, he did not want Yun Kuang to pester Yin Suqiu. He cupped his fists at the angry Yun Kuang and said with a smile, Fellow Taoist Yun, Suqiu is my Tao companion. However, she is not fated to be with you. As the divine messenger of the Rain Palace, you wouldn't do something like pestering a woman, would you? Tao companion. Yun Kuang looked at Suqiu and Ning Fan who were holding each other's hands and gritted his teeth. His gaze fell upon Ning Fan once again. This time, there was a trace of intense hostility in his eyes. However, this hostility was immediately retracted. Although he was arrogant, it was because of his divine intent. His state of mind was still as steady as a nascent soul realm old monster. Your name? Zhou Ming. Ning Fan said without hesitation. As soon as Zhou Ming's name came out, it was as if thunder had exploded in the ears of many Gold Core realm experts. These old monsters were naturally passing by the Wei country when they were in this world. They had more or less heard some rumors about old ancestor Zhou Ming. In an instant, everyone's gaze fell upon Ning Fan. They were secretly shocked. This inconspicuous harmonious spirit youth was actually a nascent soul realm expert. No wonder he dared to hold Yun Kuang's woman in front of him. Unfortunately, Yun Kuang was an eccentric person. He did not know Zhou Ming's name at all. He only remembered the name in his mind and said calmly. Zhou Ming. Nice to meet you. It was rude of him to call Zhou Ming's name directly instead of calling him Tao companion. Ning Fan furrowed his brows. It seemed like he had offended Yun Kuang after all. However, so what if he offended him? The strength of the Rain Palace made Ning Fan fearful. At the same time, the Rain Palace had a realm law that no one disobeyed. This realm law was the reason why the old scholar and the beautiful woman attacked Ning Fan. This realm law would also restrict Yun Kuang from attacking Ning Fan. Perhaps Yun Kuang would make things difficult for Ning Fan secretly. However, as long as it was not life-threatening, Ning Fan could endure it for a while. He wanted to borrow the Great Jin's teleportation formation. He would not cause any more trouble. Yin Suqiu alone had already caused a lot of trouble along the way. Seeing that Ning Fan was not angry, Yun Kuang laughed dryly and the corner of his mouth curled into an indescribable arc. Oh right. You guys chose to enter Great Gene during the chaos of the demons. I suppose you guys are here for the teleportation formation. That's right. I wonder if fellow Daoist Yun has anything to say. I don't have anything to say. However, if you want to use the teleportation formation, you must join the Great Jin's cultivation guards to fight against those Gold Core Realm and Nascent Soul Realm demons. Your cultivation base is only at the half-step Gold Core Realm. It doesn't seem to be enough. King Jin has ordered that you must at least be at the Gold Core Realm to join the cultivation guards. Whether my cultivation base is enough or not will be known in the future. Moreover, this is between me and Great Jin. There's no need for fellow Daoist Yun to worry about it. Fellow Daoist, please. If that's the case, I, Yun Kuang, will wait and see if you have the strength to join the cultivation guards. Yun Kuang wanted to say more, but suddenly, a ray of sword light pierced through the sky. Its speed was even faster than a late nascent soul realm cultivator. That sword light turned into a sound transmission and exploded in front of Yun Kuang. Immediately, it turned into an old-fashioned and aged voice. All divine envoys, return quickly. I have something to tell you. The voice was not loud, but it could be heard within 100 li radius. Moreover, that voice contained the might of comprehending the heavens and earth, causing the hearts of the old monsters at the scene to tremble. As for Ning Fan, even though he was not affected by the might, his eyes turned solemn. A sound transmission from a flying sword. A spirit-severing realm cultivator. Yun Kuang's facial expression changed when he heard the voice. Revered Elder, why did you come to Great Jin? Yun Kuang did not dare to neglect the summons of the revered Elder of the Rain Palace. He frowned and looked at Ning Fan, then at Suqiu. He let out a cold harumph and immediately left in a ray of light. However, Ning Fan did not relax at all. Offending the Rain Palace as soon as he entered Great Jin, the chaos caused by the demons in Great Jin was even more unimaginable. Even the spirit-severing realm revered Elder of the Rain Palace had come. That demon general was indeed wreaking havoc in Great Jin. As such, even if he joined the cultivation guards of Great Jin, he must finish the battle quickly and obtain enough battle merits to leave this place immediately. He had to be wary of the demon general and also be careful of Yun Kuang, who might make things difficult for him. This is really troublesome. Let's see how to join the cultivation guards first. Speaking of which, when are you going to let go of my hand? Ning Fan shook his head and smiled bitterly. Thank you, Suqiu did not answer his question. She smiled faintly again and let go of her hand. Her smile was only given to the young man in front of her and only him. It seems like I have to keep the 7 apricot voyage ship for now. As for the women in the ship, if fellow Daoist Yin trusts me, please let me keep them safe. Of course I trust you. But how are you going to keep them safe? Use it. Ning Fan gently shook the cauldron ring on his left wrist. The 7 apricot voyage ship turned into a magical treasure and was kept. Bing Ling, Yu Ling and the female cultivators of song were kept into the cauldron ring under Suqiu's dumbfounded gaze. How many women are hidden in this ring of yours? She knitted her brows and was secretly worried. Do you want to go in and have a look? No way. Let's go and find that Gold Core Realm cultivator of Great Jin and join the cultivation guards. We must quickly accumulate enough battle merits and head to the Endless Sea. The branch of the Rain Palace was built on top of a green mountain. The mountain was 10,000 zhang high and there was a magnificent waterfall pouring down from it. The 10,000 zhang high waterfall could generate clouds and turn them into rainbows. The branch of the Rain Palace used great magical power to transform the misty clouds into a solid form and built a palace that floated in the air. Inside the palace, the 17 nascent soul realm cultivators including Yun Kuang were summoned back urgently. On the stairs, a black-robed white-haired young man stood in the middle of the palace. All the nascent soul realm divine envoys held their breaths. This young man looked young, but he had lived for thousands of years. He was a spirit-severing realm old monster. His white hair was his age. His youthful appearance was his divine ability. His voice was old and hoarse. All the divine envoys including Yun Kuang were secretly thinking about the purpose of this revered elder's visit. According to revered elder Ming's divination, a spirit-severing realm demon general has infiltrated the Great Jin. This old man is here to eliminate the demons and eliminate all the demons in the world. The white-haired young man said coldly. However, his words immediately caused a huge uproar among the divine envoys. Spirit-severing realm demon general. As expected, the cause of this demon tide was all because of that demon general. After killing the demon general, the demon tide would self-destruct. From today onwards, the 17 of you will join the Great Jin Cultivation Guards. As for the Great Jin Cultivators, they will be under my command. 3 months later, at the Dragon Dream Swamp, it will be the crucial moment for the demon general to transform into a dragon. All of us will come out and fight to the death. Do you have any objections? We dare not. Good. Yun Lai and Yun Ruowei, why aren't they here yet? Reporting to Revered Snow, Yun Lai said that he wants to explore the Dragon Dream Swamp alone. Old scholar Song Yi said cautiously. Reporting to Revered Snow, Yun Ruowei seems to be troubled by her inner demons. I'm afraid she will need a few more days to arrive. After listening to the two's report, the white-haired young man's face immediately turned angry. Chapter 168. The spiritual qi in this place was almost twice as dense as in Yu country. Cultivators would be able to cultivate at least 30% faster than in Yu country. 30% might not seem much, but with the accumulation of time, the difference was like the difference between heaven and earth. 1,000 years of cultivation in Jin was equivalent to 1,300 years of cultivation in Yu country. 300 years. If Yu country's cultivators like Guo Qiaozi were born in Jin country, they would have formed their nascent soul a long time ago. With the accumulation of generations, the experts in a middle-grade cultivation country were far superior to those in a low-grade cultivation country. Even a nascent soul realm old monster had the power to destroy a low-grade cultivation country. The law of the rain world dictated that the annihilation of a country would have to pay 70% of the income. There were cultivators from other countries who came to Great Jin to cultivate after forming their gold core. There were also experts who passed by Great Jin to borrow the immemorial teleportation formation. However, in these few years, the demon tide gradually rose, making it very dangerous to cultivate in Jin country. The immemorial teleportation formation would only be opened once a year. There were still 3 months before the next opening. In the past, the fee for borrowing the teleportation formation was 100,000 immortal jade per person. But recently, due to the king's order, it was changed to 100,000 battle points. At the southern boundary of the state of Jin, a group of cultivators was led by a golden core cultivator into a cultivation city several hundred kilometers away. This city was called Siwa City, one of the 10 cities in Great Jin. It was where the Hani sect was located. The sect master of Hani sect was called Jiexiu. He was an early nascent soul realm cultivator. His other identity was one of the 14 commanders under the king of Jin. The king of Jin was rumored to be a late nascent soul realm cultivator. He was extremely powerful. There were 11 nascent soul realm cultivators from the righteous and evil sects in Jin and 3 nascent soul realm cultivators among the rogue cultivators, making a total of 14 people under his command. He established the cultivator guard and commanded the 14 nascent soul realm commanders. Under his control, there were rarely any cultivators from other countries who dared to invade Great Jin. Ning Fan felt a different atmosphere in Great Jin. It was something he had never felt in Wu country and Yu country. Although Yu country was called a country, the sects were independent. If Heavenly Tao sect invaded, they would shrink back and not resist. Only the Great Jin dynasty is worthy of being called a cultivation country. The king of Jin will not interfere with the personal grudges of the sections. However, when the Great Jin dynasty is in chaos, all the sects must work together and abandon all personal grudges to put the country first. The Great Jin can be considered as a cultivation country. As for the Hani sect, it's not a bad sect. In Tsiwa City, Ning Fan was following a group of cultivators. His eyes fell upon each of the disciples of Hani sect and he nodded slightly. In the city, cultivators wearing plain clothes could be seen from time to time. Some of them even had patches on their clothes. In the world of cultivators, it was a rare sight. However, in this place, it was extremely common. He was dressed simply and spent most of his time cultivating. He rarely showed extravagant behavior. This was a kind of tempering of one's mental state. It would allow the disciples of the Han-yi sect to live a peaceful life. The one who proposed this mental state cultivation method was the founder of the Han-yi sect, Jia Zichui, Bing Ling. The other women and the 7 apricot voyage ship were kept away by Ning Fan. Lady Yunhua was also kept inside Jing Zhuo's corpse bag. The three of them had followed the Jin nation's golden core cultivators to Tsiwa City, all for the sake of obtaining permission to temporarily join the cultivation guard. To enter the primordial teleportation formation, one person needed 100,000 battle merits, and 3 people would need 300,000 battle merits. The next opening of the formation would be 3 months later. If they missed this opportunity, they would have to wait for another year. 300,000 battle merits. He didn't know the specific criteria for obtaining battle merits, so he couldn't help but feel worried. In Suchio immediately noticed his frown and comforted him. Will our old ancestor Zhou Ming be worried too? Worried. Very worried. I'm worried that Yun Kuang will snatch my Dao companion away. That would be troublesome. Ning Fan teased. In Suchio's face immediately turned red and she turned her head away in embarrassment. To Jingzhua, it was his first time coming to Great Jin. As for Tsiwa City's old ancestor Jia Xiu, he was the same as the other Gold Core Realm cultivators, hoping to pay him a visit. A nascent soul realm old monster could gain a lot of enlightenment just by talking to him for a few sentences. The 13 Gold Core Realm cultivators were all old monsters who were stopped from entering the realm. After some consideration, they agreed to join the Jin Nation's cultivation guard to assist in eliminating the demon tide. After staying in the inn, the Jin Nation's Gold Core Realm cultivator said that 3 days later, a cultivator from Han-yi sect would bring them to meet Jia Xiu. When they thought about meeting old ancestor Jia Xiu 3 days later, all the Gold Core Realm cultivators were slightly excited. After all, when ordinary Gold Core Realm cultivators joined the cultivation guard and came to Tsiwa, they would only be welcomed by the sect master of Han-yi sect. A nascent soul realm old ancestor would personally receive them. All the Gold Core Realm cultivators knew that all of this was because of Zhou Ming. This person was also a nascent soul realm old ancestor. Not in vain, not in vain. Wouldn't it be a waste of opportunity to meet 2 nascent soul realm cultivators during this trip to Great Jin? Ning Fan decided to play the role of old ancestor Zhou Ming till the end. He would offend Yun Kuang and expose his identity as soon as he entered Great Jin. Moreover, the commotion in Wei country was too big. News of it could be heard even at the border of Great Jin. It would be hard to conceal his identity. As for Ning Fan, he did not intend to conceal his true cultivation base. Joining the cultivation realm required a Gold Core Realm cultivation base. Using the teleportation formation mostly depended on one's appearance. It would be too troublesome to use his true cultivation base as a half-step Gold Core Realm cultivator. Using the thought-concealing art to change his nascent soul chi and disguise himself as a nascent soul realm expert would be much more convenient. He had mastered teleportation and his spirit sense was at the early nascent soul realm. After consuming the spirit refining grass from the 2 demonesses, his sense concealment art would not be able to see through his cultivation base even if he was at the mid-nascent soul realm, unless he was at the late nascent soul realm. His current concealing art of thought was enough to complete a small realm. As a nascent soul cultivator, after joining the cultivation guard, they would be able to take on more difficult missions and obtain more military merits. After checking into the inn, Ning Fan asked the cultivators in the inn and found out that the gene cultivation guards were divided into two divisions, the combat division and the defense division. The battalion was responsible for hunting Yao. Only those with later stage gene dan cultivation could join. The Department of Defense was responsible for defending the border cultivation cities. Ordinary gene dan were enough. While the details were not known, it was rumored that the battle merits obtained by the battalion were more than 10 times that of the garrison battalion. As such, it was much more convenient to disguise as a nascent soul realm cultivator and join the combat division. Compared to having a harmonious spirit realm cultivation base and nascent soul realm cultivation base, it was much more convenient to attract people's attention. The 3 days of waiting was considered as giving Ning Fan and the others time to rest and recuperate during their journey. Jing Zhuo and Suqiu did not go out of their rooms. They were meditating and resting in their rooms. As for Ning Fan, he originally wanted to take a stroll in the city. However, 13 other Gold Core Realm cultivators came to visit him one after another. Old Ancestor Jia Xiu was a nascent soul realm cultivator. Old Ancestor Zhou Ming was also a nascent soul realm cultivator. As a Gold Core Realm cultivator, talking to a nascent soul realm cultivator would save at least a few years or even dozens of years of hard cultivation. As the saying goes, one should not slap a smiling face. These Gold Core Realm cultivators came with gifts and Ning Fan did not want to chase them away. A pot of tea and a Dao discussion made these Gold Core Realm cultivators feel satisfied and unsatisfied. During the 3 days of Dao discussion, Ning Fan's words would often contain pearls and pearls, allowing the 13 of them to more or less understand something. When the 13 of them raised their questions about the bottleneck, Ning Fan pondered for a moment and gave them an answer that was overjoyed. There were even 2 or 3 of them who found it difficult to talk with Ning Fan halfway through. They realized that the bottleneck had loosened. If they did not break through now, they would miss the opportunity. During the 3 days of Dao discussion, all the Gold Core Realm cultivators were convinced that Ning Fan was a nascent soul realm cultivator. Other than nascent soul realm old monsters, who else could break through the bottleneck of the Gold Core Realm with just a few words? Ning Fan also gained a lot from the 3 days of Dao discussion. He had only been cultivating for a short period of time. He only relied on the Yin-Yang locket and the Immortal Emperor's memory. He also gained a lot of insights from the Dao discussion with the old monsters. Moreover, these old monsters came from other countries. Whenever Ning Fan asked about the local conditions and customs, they would answer with fervor and assurance. In terms of knowledge, Ning Fan had some understanding of the 7 or 8 low-ranked cultivation countries near Wei country. When Ning Fan was discussing the Dao, he always felt an early nascent soul realm spirit sense probing him. During the 3 days, that nascent soul realm cultivator was always vigilant against him. Ning Fan even guessed that the reason why he did not immediately accept the cultivation guards after entering Chu Wo was because of this person. This person was worried and wanted to probe his background. Ning Fan did not expose all of these. On the evening of the 3rd day, after all the Gold Core Realm old monsters had left, Ning Fan leisurely sipped the fragrant tea and smiled. Fellow Taoist Jia Xiu, are you relieved after 3 days of observation? The spirit sense that probed him was slightly startled after hearing Ning Fan's words. Then, he chuckled. Fellow Taoist Zhou Ming, your spirit sense is stronger than this old Taoist. Sorry for my disrespect. However, fellow Taoist Zhou Ming, do you think that you can do whatever you want in Wei country in Jin just because you are stronger than this old Taoist? This old Taoist will not allow it and King Jin will not turn a blind eye to it. Fellow Taoist Jia must be joking. I came to Great Jin only for the teleportation. Joining the cultivation guards is for military merits. I have no ulterior motives towards Great Jin. Fellow Taoist Jia, you can rest assured, hee hee. That's great. This old Taoist will wait for you in Liangbao Palace. If you really have no ulterior motives, this old Taoist will be very happy to introduce you to my great gene cultivation guards to help in eliminating the demon tide. That voice did not sound happy or angry. Then, the spirit sense was extinguished like a ball of cold fire. Ning Fan's eyes narrowed. This Jia Xiu has such a strange spirit sense technique. I can't underestimate him. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.